Deep in an underground secret Pacific Island lair, Pop Culture Minefield presents Saturday Morning Funtime. This is the Comic Relief Crusader telling you to get your morning cereal ready, because here we go.
Oh my god. I get so distracted listening to that. I fucking love his voice on that, dude. Welcome to another Saturday morning fun time with Keith, my partner in crime here, myself. I am the host. My desk is not quite set up correctly now in my new digs here. So it looks like I'm looking off screen, but it's the camera's here, but my screen that I'm actually looking at is here. So I want to introduce, of course, Martin Acosta Santana. He is Venezuelan royalty by way of Indiana. And he has a funky Indiana accent. I don't get it. But he is in charge, manager of our chat. So he'll be the one interacting with you during the show the most. And then, of course, on our panel today, we have Stephen. Did you do your morning show today?
We did not.
You lazy motherfucker.
I know. I have to sleep sometime.
Welcome to the panel, buddy. You have to sleep sometime. I have not slept. I could not sleep last night, man. I could not get to sleep. I've been up, and I'm still quite energized. I just had like one of those really powerful energy drinks. So yeah. So anyway, also here on our panel is the awesome Baron Ormantag. And we know Baron from 24/7 Fusion show on Sundays, which is I always forget the name. Primetime Kings. They get it right? Yep. Primetime Kings. You got it. And of course, our good friend Fat Steven Seagal is on that with you. He is I think he is the main host of the show. Sadly, I don't know what's going on with him because Canada is still apparently without internet.
Really?
Trudeau is a fucking horror of a human being, and it makes me worry about what's going on. 911 is down. ATMs are down all over the country. People can't get their fucking money. They can't call 911 if shit's going down. It's fucking scary what's going on in Canada right now. I'm going to bet you all of our close friends in Canada are not going to be on here today because, we have a lot of friends in Canada that are usually in our chat, and I'm noticing they're absent right now. And it hurt our show yesterday because we had Drew Blair on, man. Fucking Drew Blair. I'm going to go bigger image with us here. Hold on. There we go. Drew Blair was on yesterday, man. He's the number one fucking airbrush artist in America. He's done Star Trek, worked on Star Trek. He's worked on so many great things. 6 people showed up for the show yesterday.
Wow.
And that's just, I can't have guests on if that happens. And I'm worried that YouTube was punishing me because of the morning show and that fucking bullshit over celebrating the life and career of James Caan, shutting us down twice during our stream because we're doing it for educational purposes. They should fucking know that. So it's shameful what YouTube did to us yesterday because we were trying to celebrate. And I actually got so angry that I didn't properly even promote the show. But either way it goes, we still normally have a lot more people than that show up, especially with a big name like Drew Blair. And it was embarrassing. Fucking frustrated me. But I want to say good morning to everybody. We got Gap Stargate here. Good morning, my friend. Bill Barkley is here. What is up, brother? Let's see who else is here right now. Das Wolfen is here. He wants to pet Baron Ormantag's monkey.
He is my younger self, my doppelganger from another era.
Oh, Loki's Mornings of Mischief is here. What is up, Loki? You're welcome to join us if you have time. I'll send you a link. Keely Chow, what is up? That is she is my favorite Keely. Also, my third favorite Chow, because I really do like. I love food, so Chow is. I got a lot of actually. There's just a ton of Chows ahead of that last name, but Keely, my number one favorite Keely, but not Chow. I'm a dick. I don't know why I say super shit like that.
I don't think you're older than me, Das Wolfen. I don't think you are.
Yesterday's show with the airbrush artist was wonderful. Thank you, Gap Stargate. I'm hoping that a lot of my friends that missed the show when it was live go and watch it because I really want to show Drew that people were interested in him. Because he's a very quiet, soft-spoken, reserved guy. I've known this guy 28 fucking years we've been friends. That blew my mind because we met in 1994 while he and Keith Birdsong were the main artists for the book covers. And I was the artist. They knew me because I'm the only artist still to this day ever commissioned to do battles from Star Trek, which is what Drew wanted to do. Drew wanted to do that shit, but they wouldn't let him. Keith, I always make fun of Keith Birdsong, because like I was telling him the story yesterday. I walked up to Keith Birdsong. Well, what's up, Keith? Hey, are these some of your new covers? Is this one cover? All these prints just variations of the same cover? Because that's really what it. Oh, I see. You kind of moved Data here and then put Geordi there, and Keith was just sitting there going, fuck you, Derry. I don't need this abuse. I got better people than you that want to abuse me. Das Wolfen, okay, younger by a year. Kingsport Cal, how are you doing, my friend? I do. Still, I'm not seeing any of our friends from
Canadian.
None.
Yeah.
I changed the coolant on my PC this morning, so the pump is hooked directly to the PCU. It's down for 24 hours to get air out of the. Oh wow! Wow. Yeah, if you guys have not seen that episode, go check it out. Star Trek artist Drew Blair was our guest on yesterday. Just a very good old friend of mine, and he talked about some amazing stuff I wasn't even aware of. His work, his artwork that he did for the CIA. I wasn't aware of that. I only knew of one painting he did that involved operators, and they were in the painting. Everything was solid except for the operators. They were kind of ghost images. And I thought it was beautiful, but apparently he did a lot more. The SR-71 was one of the paintings he did for the CIA. And that's a gorgeous piece of artwork there, my friend. In fact, let me see if I can, because StreamYard's been acting really weird in not letting me do shit. And I'll see if they let me do it now. Do it now. Do it now. Do it. Let's see if it lets me upload an image. Because it stopped me from uploading anything yesterday. There we go. This is one of his paintings right here. Drew Blair is an amazing airbrush artist. He really is. And we had him as a guest yesterday. And this is one of my favorites he did. I'll get you another one. Hold on. I'll pull up another one of his paintings. Oh, my God. I love this one, too. But I'll do Star Trek first. This is one of his Star Trek paintings. Finish uploading. This was actually one. They loved it so much they turned this one into an art print from Paramount.
Oh,
That is. I cannot say.
I've seen that one before. Yes.
Yeah, that's my buddy Drew, and this is the one that made me become friends with him, because I knew who he was, but I wasn't blown away by the Star Trek covers. But the reason why he explains it, that they gave him shitty images to work with, and the artwork can only be as good as the resources given to them. Him and Keith Birdsong. And so, but I saw this fucking art print, and I said, I got to become friends with this motherfucker. Here it is.
Ooh.
When I saw that, I knew this guy was a great artist. You can see all the happy trees in the background because he's Bob Ross.
Total airbrush. That's amazing.
Wow.
Well, he does mixed medium. He does some hard stuff with colored pencils like I do.
Yeah.
I do it digitally now, but he still uses the old way with oil colored pencils and regular brushes, fine tip brushes to do highlights.
The one thing I liked about that Star Trek one was he put a dreadnought in the background there.
Well, he actually added another nacelle to it, and they told him to take it off. Paramount said they didn't like it. Here's another one. Let me show you this one. This is just gorgeous. This fucking piece right here is just, and he talked about it in the interviews of how he, and just like I do, it's all about the effects you add and how the effects work in your painting. And this one, look at this.
That's gorgeous. I love that one.
Breaking the sound barrier.
Impressive.
Most impressive.
Wow. Impressive.
That's a tomcat. Great fucking painting.
Nope,
man.
that's an
You know what
F-15 Eagle.
That's not an F. What is that?
An F-15.
Oh, it's F-15. Okay.
Yes.
You know that that B-1 bomber one reminded me of? That Clint Eastwood movie. What was that one again? Firefox.
Firefox.
Yep.
You would think of that.
Of course I would.
No, I love that movie. I own it.
Mr. I look askew.
Now look at this one. And what I love about this is his attention to detail on the whips of the blade on the water. Look at that.
Wow.
His airbrushing on this is just phenomenal.
He did have an explanation for some of the techniques, including with skin, that he used. One of his, he decided to take us behind the scenes and show us one of the things that he uses to achieve some of the effects that he does. And it was an interesting way of doing that. So
It's a great show, man. It really is. And I'm hoping that people really go to watch it. And here's because we talked about this, because I do the same thing when I'm painting. I start with the mouth, eyes, and hair. And it was really fascinating that he does the same thing. It's because that's what sells your painting. All the foundation stuff around those is framework for the eyes and the mouth and the hair.
And hair.
Wow.
I like what he had to say about.
And that's a fucking painting right there on the right. Not
like
Stephen. Stephen is real. It's a painting in front of him.
I like what he had to say about Frank Frazetta. You know, that was
well, that he knew, and we're going to surprise Sarah. We're going to have her back on and surprise her with him dropping in, because he knew her when she was little. And I think the words out of my mouth was, "You bastard, you knew him. You got to meet him. Fucker, I hate you."
and he liked his, Frazetta really liked his military artwork.
Which is what got me to be friends with him.
Yeah.
So where are we on the chat? The Apache. He actually got to ride in the Apache. What else did he say he got to ride in? He said he rode in the Apache. He rode in one of the other ones.
The Eagle.
Was that what he said?
It was
Yeah.
He was in the second seat of an F-15. His first jet, he said.
It's glad to know he didn't get goosed.
Well, I'm going to go back here because I want to say hi to everybody. I've said hi to them. Kingsport Cal, I already said good morning to you. Glad you're here, buddy. It's afternoon in Tennessee. Shanatsky. Shanatsky, aren't you in the Saturday morning group? You should be joining us. Penny, good morning. How are you doing? Afternoon. Well, no, wait, you're in Las Vegas? Aren't you in Las Vegas? She's in Las Vegas. It's still morning. Because they're mountain time.
Hi, Penny.
Hi,
She's
Penny.
so frustrated because her phone keeps buffering. That sucks. Yeah, I hate that shit. It was, I don't think it was an Apache. I think it was
a Gazelle.
What?
It was a Gazelle.
It was a Gazelle?
Yep.
The French one.
Yeps.
Okay, yeah. The French Gazelle is actually it's a weird looking helicopter, and it makes sense because it was so wide.
It's no.
In the framework.
The rescue version, the standard version is very standard and it's very pretty. It's sleek. I like it.
Well, that yeah, okay. No, that's you that said that. Okay. Yeah, I was about to say it was not an Apache. The Apache hadn't come out when Blue Thunder.
Nope.
It was still an experimental helicopter at that point over at I think Hughes makes that one. Is that Hughes or McDonnell Douglas? I think it's Hughes.
Hughes makes the Cobra.
The Cobra. And the Cobra was out, but it was clearly not a fucking Cobra. But it was loosely based on the Cobra, and they made it wider to add all the tech that was in there for the I don't know what to call the guy in the back, navigator.
Jaffel.
I liked what they called me. Jaffo. Just another fucking observer.
The thing couldn't almost fly because of the added weight.
Yeah, and they used lightweight wood
for
for
the
it.
devil,
Too.
and you appeared, Gary.
What did you say, Gary?
Oh, you
What?
asked for the devil, and he now has appeared, Gary.
You're not the devil. I've met the devil. You're nice. I was married to the devil.
That's like the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
That's my
When he
first.
says
That's
nice
my
things
first
to you.
wife. My first wife was the devil. My second wife was one of her minions. So yeah, I've met evil. I've done battle.
I was gonna say.
I like you, Shanatsky. So no, you're no devil. I came
When you start
for the.
when you
hope
start
that-
saying
that-
nice things, you get worried.
No, we're going to get into it here. I wanted to wait till everybody got here, and it's usually about the first half hour when everybody. Again, only 6 fucking people watching. What the
know.
fuck? I promoted the show this time.
We do a lot of
I even put
business in
stuff out.
Canada.
I cannot believe
it wasn't showing up as anything coming in my feed. It wasn't like showing up at all. The only reason I was even found out is I would go to the channel directly and then had to go down the schedule. It wasn't even showing in the videos tab as upcoming.
Well, I got a stupid question because a lot of us know him. Did Brandon have a show this morning? I was looking all over for him and I can't find a show.
I didn't see him either.
I think he was doing something this weekend.
Oh,
I think
okay.
it's got
remember him
something
saying
with his
something about
daughter
that.
or something like
Yeah.
that. I know
Oh,
he's busy.
okay, yeah.
So okay.
But yeah, YouTube and all that's been very wonky and strange lately.
And yeah, I've been looking at the news. 10 hours ago, NPR. This is how full of shit they are. NPR says Rogers says it has restored internet service to most of its Canadian customers. That was 23 hours ago. 1 hour ago, Washington Post says Canada's Rogers network outage still leaves millions without internet.
Oh, he Brandon's one of them, and he's sick as well.
Okay.
Dennis is here. What is up, Dennis?
I saw a tweet from Fat Steven. Says it's from 4 hours ago, and he was still out as of that time. So
This is just unacceptable for Canada.
this is bullshit.
This
man.
is
This is
look,
straight
man,
up bullshit.
it's like
Let's
here in
call
the
it what it
US.
is.
13 what do you call them? Main hubs where food is sent out by truckloads. What is that called? Facilities where
Food
they hold
distribution
food.
centers.
Distribution
Thank you.
center.
13 fucking food distribution centers fucking explode in fire. And nobody's doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
That is not an accident. That
And
is
you
a
don't have
strategic assault on our infrastructure.
And you don't have
The
that many
bugs.
cows keel over and die.
There's shit
that.
going on in this country. We're under assault, and everybody's got their blinders on, and nobody's talking about it. The media's not talking about it. The current administration's ignoring it, and this is scary shit. This is what's driving up food prices, along with fuel. It's costing more to transport stuff, so you're paying almost double for some items.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrifying. People are, and inflation is getting ridiculous. We're getting ready to get. We just found out that the internet market, I mean the housing market in St. Louis has collapsed. Nobody's talking about it. We know it because we know real estate agents working in the area, and they're saying, yeah, nothing's selling right now. It's completely collapsed. Who just left?
Deleted.
The real Steve.
What happened?
I don't know.
He must have lost internet because he's not saying anything. All right.
Or is that a distribution plant and it just went up?
Oh, you're so funny. Fuck you, Shinatsu.
All I can
love
say
you
though
too,
is
Gary.
I love you too, buddy.
all I can say is Trudeau's acting like his old man.
What? No, Trudeau's dad was awesome.
What do you mean, Castro?
Oh, him. Yeah. Okay. I thought you were talking about the true name of Trudeau for Canada.
Yeah, the elder.
He was an amazing prime minister. Amazing
Trudeau's?
what he did. The
Trudeau's
original?
dad
Yeah.
sounds like a punk band's name. Sounds like a name for a punk band.
I'll tell you the name of one of my punk bands was Bob's Immaculate, not Immaculate, Immaculate Bathroom. It was called that because my landlord's name was Bob. And he was drunk one night, and he invited us over, my band, for some drinks. We hadn't named ourselves yet. He's like, my house is a mess, but my bathroom is immaculate. So he named the band Bob's, and he actually liked that. He's like, he felt so proud, and I'm like, we're making fun of you. You fucking alcoholic piece of shit.
He doesn't care.
He didn't care. He fucking loved it.
You should have named the band Screaming Sphincter or something like that sometime.
That was the band I wrote the song. I wrote the song Commies on Welfare. And that was when we had a guitarist in the band, and I threatened to kill him. I was going to beat his ass because one of our lead singers, a female, Michelle, she was gorgeous, and she had an amazing Natalie Merchant style voice. Really amazing. And his name was Sergei Dubovik. And he'd say stupid shit like, that fucking sucks. I'm like, stop adding an S to things. It's really annoying when you do that. It's fucking, not fuxing. And so first thing he did when he came over from Russia was he was in Seattle. He went straight to the welfare office. And I'm like, you left communist Russia, escaped it, to come over here and just basically do the same fucking thing. Get in line for food.
It's like he's from California.
It just fucking annoyed me. So when I kicked him out of the band, because I told him he couldn't come back, he had to have somebody come pick his guitar up. I threw a drumstick at his head. And I'm not talking a wooden one. I played with the fiberglass acrylic sticks because I break drumsticks. I do a lot of rim shots. And when you do rim shots, you can break the diamond tips off of the drums. And it's just nylon, but they're called diamond tips because they're shaped. And that's the drums.
Now we know what he plays with.
And shut up, Bear. But this thing was heavy. These were heavy drumsticks, and I fucking threw that drumstick at his head because he turns to Michelle. He says, "You'd be good for front of band if you weren't so fat." Again, adding an S to the word fat. And I looked at him like this, and I was like, did he just fucking say what I think he said? And I looked at her, and she was upset. I could tell already. And her eyes started to well up with tears. And I turned back to him. He looked at me, and he realized, I think I fucked up. And I leaned back in my drum throne, and I threw that drumstick like a knife right at his head. Zipped past him. And this is how much of a guitarist he was. He had the mind to fucking unstrap his guitar and put it firmly into the guitar stand before running from me. And I literally went through my drum set. I threw my drum kit out of the way, and I just started going at him. I was going to beat his fucking ass. And he put his fucking guitar down before running, and that fucker could run. And I made fun of him for it because, I said, oh, I'm so disabled, but you can fucking outrun me. And I'm an athlete. I was an athlete at the time. So Anyway, I after kicking him out of the band, I wrote a song dedicated to him called "Commies on Welfare," and I think it went "Commies on welfare, commies on welfare, Pico in a cheese line, Pico in a cheese line, commies on welfare, commies on welfare." And that was the chorus. I don't remember the rest of the song.
And I can guarantee that you've never heard a story like that from Phil Collins.
Now, Phil, when you listen to some of his stories, he really kind of comes off as a cunt sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got some great stories, but he really,
But,
my apologies for not being on that much this week. I've been without internet at my store, and our internet provider has not fixed it. Are you in Canada? I think you're in the U.S., aren't you, Dennis?
Ladies and gentlemen.
Bill, I am not going to watch that movie. I'm not going to watch it.
That one not.
I have to be paid because it's a 2-hour film, and I charge $20 an hour for doing my work. You have to pay me to go see that fucking movie. I predicted it was going to be bad. I said that he's got too much free license with this, and I dislike that because he's irreverent. And I'm talking about Taika Waititi is irreverent, and when you're irreverent, that means you lack reverence. And so Thor's a joke, and I just don't want to. I don't want to see it.
You got to give him points, though. He wants to put Natalie Portman in a Star Wars film.
Well, they're trying to say that was a joke, but I'm like,
They are.
well,
No.
good joke, man. It made you look stupid.
Yeah.
Well done.
In the words of Christian Bale, good for you.
Good for you. Good for you.
We are so fucking done, mate. We're done.
That ran.
He was the best part of that movie.
The lockdowns are insane. Cable is out, and your internet is. Never mind.
So I'm going to go to comments again. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead. We're at a half hour. I guess we can go ahead and start talking about it.
28
what show
minutes
do we
and
want to
3
talk about first?
whatever.
You're the boss.
I'm the boss. No
Let's talk about the Orville.
Captain.
Start with
you're
good
the
stuff.
boss.
That one I've seen. Sort of.
I gotta get that Hulu account from my ex-wife. She says she's got it and wants to give it to me.
What the hell are you talking about?
I don't have Hulu. I need to get Hulu, but I guess my ex-wife's got Hulu, and she says, "Well, you can watch it. I'll give you the password." So I know, it's so weird.
Gary,
We're proud of you.
They
That's
tried
awesome.
to give me a Thor bucket, but I turned it down because I was making fun of that yesterday. Said, I swear to God, I'm going to fucking stop talking to you if you get a fucking Thor bucket for your popcorn.
Well, you need something to throw up in.
Oh my God, what a fucking horrible concept of a movie. I just knew it was going to be fucking awful.
Hey, Bill, the Orville's great every week, unlike a lot of the other shows that are its competition.
As controversial as it is,
We have a script doctor in the house.
that's exactly what I've been saying, Script. You want to join us? I'll send you an
You
invite.
should join us.
Invite. Copy. So
Gotta
we're
get
getting
the
ready to
smart
talk
guy
about the Orville. And very much a fan of this show. Even though I found a couple of logic issues on the show, I'm sending the invite to him right now. Script? Where the fuck are you, Script? You're too far down on my list. I got to fucking look you up to find you. There we go.
Oh, way to build
Bill?
up the guest.
Bill, Norm did all the voice recording for the season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so glad he recorded for this. I was kind of hoping maybe he did some stuff for next season too that they could fit in, but God, man, I'm still brokenhearted. I actually cried the other night over. I watched his show on Netflix about 3/4 of the way through and I stopped. I got emotional watching it. Hey, Infomedia Live, peace and respect to you too, my friend. Here is Script Doctor. Oh, you already added him? There we go. What's up, Script?
Hey, how's it going?
It's great.
I'm in the new digs.
That is awesome.
I still don't have my chair, so I'm having swelling in my feet from circulation issues, and it all got started while I was staying with my stepson, and it's not gotten any better yet. But I keep putting my feet up, hoping that'll help clear it up a little bit. Also,
Well, I hope
drinking
you
a
get your
little
chair
extra
soon.
water. I got to go to it. It's going to be an ordeal because I got to get the code, and then go. I'm not saying cold. I'm saying code. I'm not Keith. If anybody's Keith's the one that sounds like he has a cold sometimes.
Are you going to take that, Keith? Come on.
In the outro, I swear to God, it sounds like you have like allergies or a cold. It's
You're
like,
the
blow your
coolest
nose,
man.
damn it, Keith.
You're the coolest black man in Springfield. Go after him, man.
Oh shit! You just offended Hawk Holman. Oh my God. And Gary. Oh my God. My buddy Gary Bedell. Jesus. But seriously, Keith is the coolest black dude in Springfield. And I know those other guys.
I'm thinking of getting that
Hawk,
tattooed on my forehead.
Hawk thinks he's cooler than he really is. That's why the name of his channel is The Fanatics and the Fan, because he didn't want to refer to himself as a fanatic, which is what fan means.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, do you understand language? If you're a fan, you're a fanatic, whether you like it or not. Keith and I have had many jokes because we love Hawk. He's a good guy, and gets a lot done, man. Gets a lot done.
He moves so fast sometimes. Jeez.
Interrupts me when I'm trying to speak words of love for my friend Keith.
So I have to sit back and
but
see about
he's really good.
we got going.
We've done panels together, and I like hanging out with him. But I do shit on him a little bit because he fucking deserves it. But at the same time, he deserves a lot of respect for what he's done. And
he's a mover and shaker.
Yeah, he is. Yes, he is. He holds one of the smaller but fun conventions there in Springfield with Geekness.
Starting to put together work for that right now.
I'm probably not. I don't know. I may attend again. I'm not sure. I love him, but I got so annoyed at him when he interrupted me. I'm trying to tell you how much I love you, and fucking he just like walked right over me after asking me to give you the award.
Gosh, Wolfman, I'm your doppelganger. I gotta be one of the coolest.
But anyway, script. You were saying the exact same thing that I was saying, which is Taika Waititi works really well when it's his original material, or when he's being managed. Because I like the work he did on Mandalorian.
I barely remember his impact on Mandalorian.
Well, he did one of the best episodes. That's when the that droid that he voiced sacrifices itself to save them in the finale.
Oh,
Yeah, that
pointlessly
was good.
sacrifices himself.
So,
Yeah.
What you're
'cause
telling is
I
that-
really enjoyed that episode.
What you're
And-
telling is that Taika is as a director, he's a great actor.
He did both. I thought it was a good episode. I liked The Mandalorian. But I got to tell you, though, Taika works better when he's being managed or if he's not working on an IP where he's not being managed. I had huge fucking problems with Ragnarok. Korg is one of my favorite characters. And what he did to him fucking pisses me off. And all he's doing is an impression of Rhys Darby. The voice he does for Korg in that movie and in the follow-up films like Infinity War with Fat Thor, Korg is voiced by Taika Waititi, but all he's doing is an impression of Rhys Darby. And if you don't believe me, go listen to Rhys Darby talk. Fuck it, I'll show you Rhys Darby talking. Fuck you guys, I'll show you.
Well, I mean,
No,
I
no,
know one
dude,
comedic
don't-
Australian or no,
don't
not
put video.
Polynesian. No, maybe he's a Kiwi from that region who does. He plays multiple characters in a couple of mockumentary shows that Taika is sounding like there. One of which where he actually does play. He plays a female teacher, a teenage Polynesian kid, and then like a snooty principal, I think, in the same series. I don't know if that's the same actor you're referring to, but that's another. It's a comedic actor from that
Well,
region.
Reese Darby is best known for that pirate comedy that came out on HBO. Our Flag Means Death.
Oh, I
If
never
you guys
saw
have
that.
never seen it.
No.
Isn't
I enjoyed the show. It was silly as fuck, but it was enjoyable. Here, I'm going to share this real quick so you can hear this guy's
Dude, they're
voice.
gonna take us out
Share
again.
screen. No, they won't. Because I'm just
he's so
giving
confident?
you a sample of his voice.
Hello, Floro.
All right. Is it showing up yet?
Yes.
I see it.
Yeah.
This is the voice that Taika Waititi is doing, impersonating when he plays that character, because they're friends in real life.
All right, mate, you're going to join up, are you?
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
I got to get past it.
Whoa, stop, Darby. What are you doing?
Because he's doing an impression of somebody else right now. I'm trying to get to his voice.
Right in the bush, and
There
set
it
our
is.
little putchies, which are these tent, and we've got face paint on, and we can't say a word. It's technical. I mean,
You hear it?
Yeah.
That is the voice of Korg, but it is actually voiced by Taika Waititi. All he's doing is an impersonation of Reese Darby. And
Did you
Darby's
decide
funny
Reese
because he was
Darby?
on that show. What was it? It was making fun of Lost. I think it was just called Wreck on TBS. And it was a hit. Fucking love that show. It was crazy. It was hilarious. The third season, final season, was basically a comedic retelling of The Most Dangerous Game, where they find themselves not being rescued by these people, but being hunted by them. It was fucking hilarious, man. I love that show. And Darby cracks me up until he starts talking about climate change. And then I'm like, okay, I got to turn him out because he doesn't know what he's fucking talking about. Like most celebrities, they don't know what they're fucking talking about. But Darby is fucking hilarious, man. And Taika, you know, his show, the vampire show, the What We Do in the Shadows. I like the movie. I like the show. It's silly. It's irreverent, and it works. Jojo Rabbit. I enjoyed the film. It's irreverent, but it had a point. It actually had a point. It made a point. It had an actual story and theme.
Oh yeah, it's a great showing about how indoctrination works and how with a little bit of compassion you can bring someone out of it.
Yeah, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And but he starts doing shit like Ragnarok. Ragnarok is just basically a shitty retelling of Hulk Planet or Planet Hulk.
Yes.
You know, and Korg is a much better character, heroic character. He plays it off for a fucking laugh. He's a sidekick buffoon.
And unfortunately, so is Thor.
Well, Thor is now. He was less so in that one, and he's more so in this new one. I've seen the trailer. I've seen all I really want to see about it. If somebody wants me to watch that movie for a review, I need to be paid $40, and I'll do it.
I mean, I liked Thor in that first film. The first Thor, I thought he was great. But then again, look who you had directed it. Look who co-wrote that film. I mean, it was, one of the MCUs I've been most impressed with, to be honest. And it's sad to see the joke. Can't hear you, Keith.
Well,
Are you
also
muted?
look at how long ago it was, and really you're introducing the character. So to have the people working on it, they did. That was first and last time for both those.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you never had those two participate in any phase 1, 2, or 3 Marvel ever again, unfortunately.
That's because Disney came in and didn't want to pay the money for that creative team to follow up with Thor.
Yep.
Again, thanks, Disney.
Yeah. Good job.
You know, somewhere there's a
good
universe where Paramount bought Marvel, and Paramount's, top dog.
Well,
Well,
actually,
no,
Paramount
Paramount-
and Marvel had a partnership, and Paramount sold that to Disney. Marvel's still technically independent, but Disney bought that partnership and pretty much just is their principal distributor. So that's why they have so much control.
Plus, Paramount is way worse off than Disney as far as woke. Okay? You still, look, the reason why you're seeing so many problems with Disney is that those who aren't woke are fighting back. At Paramount, everybody has drank the Kool-Aid. Everybody. So it'd be a lot worse if they owned Marvel. It'd be a lot worse. Because there'd be nobody to stop them.
I mean, at Paramount, the people who are working on the show that know what Star Trek is about have thrown it away and ignored it completely. It's like it
Nobody
never
from
existed.
Paramount's working on Star Trek. It's Bad Robot and Secret Hideout.
That's right.
So
Well,
That
yeah,
Paramount's
let's-
stuff that Paramount's doing is they did Beavis and Butthead. They're doing South Park. They're doing all of the Taylor Sheridan shows. None of those would be falling under the woke stuff. They were very much supportive of Top Gun Maverick because of Tom Cruise's relationship that they have with them. Same thing with the Mission Impossible series.
Yeah.
Paramount is fine. If Paramount held on to Marvel and didn't sell because they were desperate for cash, they wouldn't have had to lay off so many people. That essentially would have maintained the status quo of Paramount and on the trajectory of profitability. What they ended up doing is they took that money from Disney, and then fired a whole bunch of people, and then hired a bunch of cheaper, straight out of college people that basically caused a whole bunch of issues. And then on top of that, when you had Les Moonviz's stuff over at CBS, poison a whole bunch of other properties and deals, and then a bunch of other people who just needed it to fill that vacuum that was left by a lot of the terminations, make further deals with people like Alex Kurtzman and Secret Hideout and whatnot. You
George
ended up
Cheeks.
basically killing your golden goose, your stability, your perfect means of collateral for getting investment, and that was Star Trek. I mean, that's one of the things that kept Paramount alive. Now it's actually Paramount is turning and looking to be better situated as a studio compared to Disney right now, because they've actually, they have more profitable lineup of films than Disney does right now. Two Marvel films have come out. Both of them are most likely never going to hit $1 billion. Maybe Thor has a better chance, but you already have Top Gun Maverick, which already crossed the $1 billion threshold. You've got their streaming numbers are going up because of some of their exclusive shows that they have right now, which is really weird. But this is all based on the fact that 3 years ago, Paramount was the only one buying spec scripts, which are original IP. And they're just racking it up, and they're trying to get this stuff out there. So you're going to see kind of an interesting peak of quality, but you're also going to see a dive in other directions. And it's going to oscillate like that for about a year, and then it's going to level off, because really right now you've got a tug of war between the ideology and the profit steering parts of Paramount. And both of them are in equal holdings of power, and until basically one of them fails financially, the other one can't act. And statistically speaking, the one that's going to make the most money is going to be the one without that politics to it.
George Cheeks pretty much just screwed them on the CBS side, because when they handed out all those extensions and renegotiations, on the one hand, Alex Kurtzman and Secret Hideout got that nice contract extension, and then they turned around and gave an even better deal to the guys behind South Park. And that shows you the kind of...
They got such a good contract out of that, and it just makes Kurtzman look like nobody likes him.
Yeah, that pretty much is what
it's
that deal
basically
was.
a stopgap. It's a stopgap type of contract, because the way that I've been hearing about it scuttled around is that they don't have a strong enough contender to helm Star Trek yet. And their existing contracts and deals with Bad Robot and Secret Hideout prohibit them from really shopping around. So the only thing they can do now is wait for someone or some team to make a hell of an impact independently or with another studio that is interested in Star Trek, so that when the term comes up again, they can just cancel the renewal and go with them. But the likelihood that they're going to do that is going to be very difficult, because whatever board over at Paramount that has already committed to the investment of Star Trek so far over the last 12 years might not want to have that part of the franchise completely washed, because each and every one of them, if they're siding on with Secret Hideout and Bad Robot, have a personal financial stake in the merchandising and licensing rights of that version of the series.
Basically,
So,
Star Trek is screwed for at least another generation, maybe two.
Would
Probably.
you say generations?
What we need
There
is
is
a
one
Harry's-
loophole, but like I'm the only one that knows it, and there's no way I'm going to get a meeting with the head of Paramount to show them what it is. But,
No, well, then stay with it. Just don't even
Yeah.
talk about it
Oh, I'm not
because you
gonna
don't want to
talk.
give them any ideas.
No.
I just
Hey, script, more power to you. Hell, I wish you could pitch for Star Trek because we can't do much worse than what's already there.
pitching's
Well,
not the problem.
Until the state of California allows international travel again, I can't go out there and do anything.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
pitching's not the problem because you still have the same people in charge, and even if they bought his idea, they'll just basically do what they've done with all the other good ideas and just change it.
That's if I go negotiate control of the property itself, which I
Good
always
point.
usually do.
yeah. With that, there was the pitch by Joe Michael Straczynski that was like a prequel series. It was like them in the Starfleet Academy, I think.
No, I think he
one
was.
in '87 that was pitched like that. But I don't know if
Yeah.
it was Michael Straczynski.
I think it was no, it was a reboot.
Complete total reboot.
It was Bryce Zwabel and J. Michael Straczynski. Bryce was the guy behind Dark Skies, and of course,
I'm going to
Straczynski-
change the logo up in the corner.
Straczynski
Yes,
was
Strange New
also
World,
coming
'cause
off.
we were
of
supposed to
Babylon
talk about
5.
Orville. We were supposed to be talking about
We're
Orville.
talking about
just
Star Trek.
already-
We are talking about the Orville.
The reboot
I've
was done
been trying to go to
before-
Orville, and I can't get in with you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and
wasn't
switch
there-
the
A
logo.
reboot was pitched in '80 before Star Trek Undiscovered Country, and that was the Academy days, and it was supposed to be a parallel, basically a flashback story of young Kirk and Spock at the Academy
Yeah,
during a current time period story that was running, and the whole idea was that after that film, the younger flashback cast would be doing subsequent films because they didn't know if the Next Generation was going to get a film series yet because it was still very profitable on television. I think it was still doing quite well in its second season during the writer's strike, which they found was a miracle, and that's why they didn't. And that's why they were doing the idea. And I think what ended up happening was they went with Final Frontier because that took again Spock's past and brought it into the current era, even though there's no flashbacks to it.
well,
And then they toyed around with the idea again in the '90s, if I remember.
well, what had happened was that was the idea of Harv Bennett. Back when Harv Bennett thought he deserved to basically run Star Trek the same way that Alex Kurtzman has full control. Harv Bennett just sort of assumed that he was going to be the natural heir apparent of all things Star Trek. And he had already pissed off Leonard Nimoy, which is not a good way to start out.
Did you do that during Voyage Home?
Actually,
Well, I think
no.
it started with the last one, wasn't it?
Yeah, Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, was where the Nimoy, by the end of that film, wasn't really happy with Harv Bennett. And then everything went straight into the crapper at the end of Star Trek 4.
Yeah, because by the
point
time
where-
they did the fourth film, Voyage Home,
Fifth film.
yeah.
Final Frontier.
Oh no! Before that, because of you, I learned about the fact that Leonard Nimoy had warned Shatner about Harv Bennett not to listen to him. Don't trust him. If you do, it's going to get fucked up, and that's exactly what happened.
That's exactly what happened.
Well, that and the
Got all
union
fucked
strike.
up.
True, but it was both things because the people who have actually read the novelization to Star Trek V will tell you it's actually way better than the film, and it's based on an earlier draft of the film. But Harv Bennett was the one that really started a lot of the problems that film had. And he was the one that decided to take Shatner under his wing and then keep everything away from Roddenberry is really what he did. They did a round robin of rewrites and waited until after the studio had been more inclined to be in favor of that, and then mysteriously just tell Shatner, oh, wait a minute, we can't do anything because we got to run everything by Roddenberry.
Now, I love going through these history things, but we are actually almost in the first fucking hour and haven't done any fucking reviews. And I keep trying to redirect this, and nobody's listening to me.
Because we hate you, Gary.
Look, we need to talk about, if we're going to talk Star Trek, let's get this fucking out of the way. I got Strange New
God.
Worlds up in the corner, and this fucking pencil neck cocksucker is playing Kirk. And
he's playing not Kirk.
The biggest insult here is the fact that they told him not to worry about watching what Shatner did, or the kid, Pine. Because Pine was doing his best Kirk, his version of Shatner, and he nailed it. Even Shatner said he did a fantastic job playing Captain Kirk. He got all the mannerisms, the energy, the ups, because he has upticks when he talks, you know. And but it's just so weird that they would, you know, tell him that. And basically, all they said when they said that to him, not to worry about seeing previous performances, just we want to see your interpretation, is fuck the fans again. Fuck being canon. Fuck canon. And that's all that means to us. They think it means something else. No, that is exactly what that means, is fuck the fans. And
the people who worked on it beforehand.
This guy was not a good Kirk. He was not good as Kirk. I can't stand his pencil fucking neck. Fucking Shatner has a thicker neck than that.
Well, Shatner was like what, 185 pounds when he was playing Kirk back in his prime.
He was struggling with his weight mainly because midlife
But he was
crisis.
a masculine dude. He actually worked out. He was physically fit. This guy was a fucking archery. He did hunting with bow and arrow.
Yeah,
which is a very physical fucking thing to do.
Yeah.
And he was very athletic. That's why he did a lot of his little stunts, the rolling thing that he would like to do.
Well, he did the legendary Kirk flying kick.
Yeah. You know, this guy has a pencil neck, and he does not act like Kirk. I hated it.
He tried to do the pause acting.
You know, I do like, you know, I'm sorry, Anson Mount nails it every fucking episode. He was great in the show. The finale. I'm assuming that was the finale.
Yeah, that's the season finale.
And I kind of thought it was nice treading over previous territory because it was the same storyline as Balance of Terror. It's the same episode.
It was cribbed. It was Akiva Goldsman who cribbed it, literally word for word, and that's not a sign of good writing. That's actually a sign of pure hackery. The other part too is there should be so many other variables thrown in to that situation to make it very, very different from what we saw, not so similar. I mean, why is Kirk captain of the Farragut? His commanding officer didn't die. He wasn't even promoted. Why was Pike not promoted earlier? Because I mean, he's still captain of the Enterprise at that point.
Yeah, clearly past his 5-year mission. It's ridiculous. The whole thing
He'd
is
be on
ridiculous.
his 3rd or 4th 5-year mission at that point, because was Kirk's start of 5-year mission, or his start of his 5-year mission.
Yeah, what is it? 2254, I think, is when that would be taking place.
See,
64.
The problem with
64.
is you're thinking. That's the problem they have. You're thinking. You know things. And for modern Trek to work, you can't have that.
And all I have to say about this episode is Anson Mount was awesome. I got to tell you, Peck did a fine job too as Spock, but everything was wrong. Did not enjoy the episode. I hated this guy. I hated him. He's loathsome as Kirk. Terrible.
They don't even describe Kirk properly. Because I posted this on Twitter before there's the huge Canadian internet blackout for 30% of the country.
Thank you for calling it a blackout, because this is suspicious as fuck.
Yeah. Well, it is. But regardless of that, at the point, the question I posed, and I actually, luckily because I did not have internet, I was able to go through quite many episodes yesterday. And Kirk never breaks any rules, nor does he even bend them. He follows the ideology of what Starfleet and the Federation is.
Oh, it's because he's aggressive. He's a, you know.
It's not that. He's so certain of his decisions because he's so understanding of what his job and role is that Starfleet always backs him up because he's in sync with them. It's when other commanders or other officers balk at him and say that he's breaking the rules. It's what you end up finding out is that they're the ones that are misinterpreting what the doctrine is and not Kirk. The only time he ever actually disobeys orders is in Star Trek III, The Search for Spock. That's it. Like even the Prime Directive, it's open to interpretation because it's about non-interference with regards to manipulation and steering a culture into a specific outcome. It doesn't mean you can't stop by a planet and say, "Hey, how you doing? Oh, do you need help with something? Sure, we'll help you with it, but we're not going to tell you how to go about doing it." It's like, "Oh, an asteroid's coming in there. Yeah, sure, we'll knock it out of the sky for you. We'll help you out with that."
I think the problem with the Prime Directive is literally the term directive, because it makes it sound like it's, you have to do this. Whereas it's kind of more, to quote Pirates of the Caribbean, it's more like guidelines.
Well, I mean, it is a directive in the sense that it prohibits anyone from Starfleet from influencing a specific direction or outcome for a culture's own benefit. Basically, it's robbing the culture of its choice to progress in its own direction. It does not prohibit you from, as an observer or as just a friend, from granting aid if it is requested.
It's the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. And Kirk went with the spirit of the law a few times because of those exact reasons, to protect a society.
These words, if not for everyone, means nothing. We,
well, it's
the
like
people,
in the
the more
Taste of
perfect
Armageddon,
human.
when he destroys the computer, he does that because the computer has violated the Prime Directive in regards to bringing the Enterprise into its war. And it's like, you violated our Prime Directive in the other way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to destroy you as a computer because you're clearly in error. And now the two cultures that are at war anyways, instead of just acquiescing to war, which seems to have been primarily just for damage, fallout damage purpose, not for civilian lives, now you actually have to contend with civilian lives because that's how you were dealing with this at the beginning. You yourselves betrayed your own culture by going in this direction. So now and because you've involved us by force, I'm removing that thing again, and now you have to start back to where you were before we even came. That was the entire thing.
Yeah, and by the way, Bill, I want to say something real quick here. Bill Barkley, least favorite interpretation of Kirk, James Cawley.
Oh, the Elvis impersonator.
Yeah,
you know what? I do agree it's the least favorite, but he is a big fan, and I would still like to see his Star Trek compared to what we're getting now from Kurtzman.
And the other Star Trek web series, fan series, was really my favorite because I felt it was written better. And I just forgot his name because he's a friend of mine, and I forgot his
Vic
name.
Mignogna?
Yeah, Vic Mignogna.
Vic is a friend of mine, and I've been trying to get him on the show for a while. He's so fucking busy. And
I'd love to talk to him.
That is really a legitimate Star Trek show and should be recognized as canon. Even I think it was it Eugene Roddenberry said that about the show.
Yeah, but you can't take anything he says seriously.
No, he's such a dipshit because he's part of this fucking latest shit. But I do like that show. I thought it was really well written. I like the way it ended. And sadly, it ended because of the CBS Paramount decision of you can't do over 20 minutes and it can't be continued series.
Well, the other part too is that if that decision came about, and I ended up learning about that intimately during the time because someone else with a fan film was trying to make lots and lots of money off of their fan film. It wasn't Vic Mignogna, and it wasn't with anyone else. It was someone else. And some of the people that were in Hollywood that worked on this.
You can say it here. Nobody's watching. What, 19 people?
It's the Axanar thing, which I thought.
Oh, that
the documentary aspect was great, but it was when you started seeing like the concepts and whatnot, and the script was floating around. It was a terrible, terrible Star Trek script. I mean, it absolutely was terrible.
The worst thing when they disconnected from Robert Meyer Burnett, I knew they were going to go down in flames.
Pretty much. I mean, apparently they just recently finished actually shooting it late last year, but I don't know if it's ever going to be completed and released. But regardless of that, the allegations was that they were making a ton of money, and the goal that I remember reading about was they were going to buy a studio, build a default bridge set and some part sets for a general Star Trek crew,
I remember
and then rent it out to other fan productions where they would turn a profit as opposed to just paying off the operating fees of the location. And that's what CBS apparently had an issue with, that and along with a lot of merchandise that had the Star Trek logo on it in addition to some of the Axanar fan artwork, which based on the crowdfunding and the fact that there wasn't much turnaround with regards to execution and release of the project, that's what caused a whole bunch of people at CBS to get really upset. Because I remember when I was interning at CBS, the one thing we got to do at the end of every week was watch the latest fan video of a Star Trek show. They loved it. They said it was free advertising. It was great for the brand. They did not care at all. They didn't even care if they had used original cast members. They had no problems with it at all. The fact that we actually had like 3 hours of our day at the end of the week where we just sit and watch Star Trek fan films, which
they really needed to follow in the footsteps of George Lucas with what he did with the fan base, allowing them to make.
Well, CBS did it first. I mean, they started doing this back in the 70s. They allowed fan films in the 70s before Star Trek. Before Star Wars even existed.
And I was in the 70s. I don't remember that. But hey, I need to move on to the next thing because we're already past the time for Keith's show and tell. And we haven't even gotten to the second episode. So Strange New Worlds finale was meh.
And
Anson Mount nails it. I got to be honest with you. The cast actually did a really good job, except for the guy they have cast as Kirk. I hated it. I disliked the storyline. I agree with you on borrowing too heavily from it. I mean, having the Klingon, the Romulan say the exact same thing to Pike that he said to Kirk was stupid. They're different kinds of commanders.
Here's the other stupid part. Pike now knows the future that puts the Federation of Romulans in war. He can now change that because he knows the outcome is to destroy that ship instantly.
No, they're not going to think of that. Akovic Goldsman is a fucking moron. So
he is.
So
hey,
anyway,
that would be a good episode. That would be a good premise episode.
Orville. Yeah, I wouldn't argue, but they're not going to do that. He's too stupid to fucking do that. We are now moving to the next thing. Orville. I want to get this out of the way because I didn't have a problem with this episode. The previous two episodes I was annoyed by. There was a lot of there were two major logic issues this season that bugged me. One, you don't have your first officer and your captain on an away mission together ever, and especially if you're borrowing from Star Trek, which borrows from the fucking Navy. So
Kirk did that all the time. Him and Spock.
In the original series, they oh my god, I can't even talk about it because it was the Holy Trinity. It was Spock, Bones, McCoy. It would always be those three.
It's not only that, but they actually bring it up during the M5, at the episode with the M5, where the Enterprise has to fight all the other things. And the M5 says it's not relevant for Kirk to go on the away mission because he's the captain, and it's like, they're actually acknowledging the fact that he's important enough to stay aboard the ship. But the thing is, Kirk is a captain in Starfleet because he loves.
And the problem was Shatner understood the necessity for a leading man to be in every episode. And that's why he made a lot of changes to the script, because he understood that to make this show successful and everybody keep their job, he had to be in every episode and he had to be a major player in every episode. And a lot of people complained about that, but the fact is they wouldn't have had a job if he hadn't done that, because the show wouldn't have lasted.
Plus, that wasn't how television was back then. Remember, they didn't start doing ensemble television until around the 1970s.
Yeah, ensemble wouldn't have worked with Star Trek in the beginning.
Yeah,
the closest we get to that,
Mission Impossible at that time were the two prominent ones.
I was just gonna say.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. Basically, we've got Orville, which has the logic issues I've had problems with, like a president with no security. Come on.
Yes.
That was just stupid. Bad writing. I refer to stuff like that as borderline Deus Ex Machina, where they do stupid shit in order to push the story forward. They did it on purpose, and it's dumb.
Yeah, like the president's security turning on him would be a more dramatic.
Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
But
I call
so
stuff
this
like that,
latest.
Sorry, I call stuff like that stupid ex machina.
Well, it's you're mixing the same thing as I am. It makes sense, but this latest episode really deals with some interesting things, which is if somebody gets thrown back in time on Earth and gets stuck there for 10 years and decides that after 3 years, I think it's time for me to give up on ever being rescued and go ahead and assimilate into society, which they have some supposed rule that says you don't do that. Well, that's a stupid rule. That's a very stupid rule because you're basically telling them to commit suicide when you tell them not to assimilate.
Because he had to live. He was essentially suffering from cabin fever.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. And he, of course, meets this girl of his dreams that was in a mobile phone that he had a replica of, so he could like learn about her and stuff. And so he meets her, and he falls in love with her, and he has 2 kids with her. Well, 1 kid and 1 on the way. And everybody's like fucking angry at him. And, you know, you're going to be in trouble for doing this. And he says, why am I in trouble for this? You know, it's a great episode in that, the dynamic there. But then the real thing is they fucked up, or the ship fucks up because they didn't have enough power to go back all the way. So they end up 10 years wrong time. So he's been there 10 years. And then they finally find more of this material which leads to a great buddy scene between him and the girl that hates him so much, Isaac, the android robot, whatever the fuck he is.
Charlie.
And they find more of this material through the Earth's core, and they're able to go all the way back. And so they tell him that, and it's like, why did they have to tell him that? I was troubled by that. That seemed to be just mean. It's like,
well, the other part that's also terrible is they didn't establish the stakes of Gordon remaining there. They said time is in flux, so we don't know if the future is normal or not. And it's like, well, that's kind of...
Well, that's just it. So by doing what they did, by going back the 10 years to the very beginning and finding him right at the beginning, did they really stop it? Because if they're following string theory in particular, this may already be its own timeline now. Because it was 10 fucking years. So they may have already split the timeline. They don't go back to even check it. They just assume at the end of the story that everything's back to normal now. Everything's good.
Yeah, you're talking about the paradox, which is how can they go back 10 years earlier if they already were 10 years too late? Wouldn't that make them automatically blink into the correct time frame and then grab Gordon before...
There was some real serious issues with the story, but I still enjoyed it. I think that this was definitely what's his name?
McFarlane?
No, the kid from
Stuart
Critters.
Gordon?
This guy,
Scott Grimes.
Yeah, Scott Grimes. Thank you. I fucking love Scott Grimes, man. It was really a good episode for him. We got to see him go through stuff. The emotions he feels, man. My heart was breaking for him. He's like, don't do this.
Which is like, why can't they just take her child and then their child and the whole family to the future? I mean, there's.
Well, they're saying that in itself fuck up the timeline. So it's like, I don't know.
You already fucked it up, though.
Yeah, it's already fucked up 10 years. So you can at least unfuck it that much. But instead, they figure out, we'll just go back to the beginning. But the part that I hate about the episode is the cruelty of telling him that they're going to go back 10 years. Everything he did. Telling him that is fucking cruel.
It's cruel, but I mean, given
it's
some
not
of the
necessary.
things
They didn't have to tell him that. They just said, "Okay, we're leaving."
Well, there's also another idiotic aspect to it, which is they said, "We're taking you now, 10 years. You've been here 10 years, but we're still taking you away." It's like the damage is done. Just leave him there. I mean, it's not even a point of argument. It's that you take him away, you're going to do further damage because his children and the life of his wife has now been changed because of his presence anyways. That change is going to continue even if you take him away from that point. You have to go back earlier before he's interacts with them in order for there to be zero change speculatively. So
which reminds
even them
me of a
just
joke,
propositioning that was stupid. It's like, oh crap, you're here.
Which reminds me of a Steve Martin joke from My Blue Heaven, Kingsport, Cal. What's the difference between a light bulb and a pregnant woman? You can't unscrew a pregnant woman. So, but the thing is that, with their love of TNG, the way the episode should have ended is they should have just walked away and then revealed to the audience, we're just going back 10 years. We're just going to have to undo everything now that we can do it.
So basically,
And
you're
then,
saying that final
after they
confrontation-
do it, the way to have ended this, and you tell me if I'm not right here, script, the way to end a story like this is to end on Gordon at the end looking at that fucking phone and thinking about the future he could have had.
I mean, if they told
Yes.
If they told it right, because they made him aware. They made him aware of what happened and what they did. And he goes, thank God you did that, because they got him when early.
Yeah.
But the fact is, they still should have showed him wondering, because that's writing right there. That's good storytelling, is to have him look at that phone, because it was so important to set that phone up at the beginning of the episode. It should have been a bookend and end with him looking at that longingly, like, wow, I had a chance to have this. I could have had a family with this. And they should have had a somber ending instead of the ending they had. And I feel that for
You
all
mean
the
kind
time
of like
they had,
kind of like the flute with the card that you want to have
exactly.
that type, yeah.
That is more TNG. What I just said is more TNG than what they did. And I
Well,
felt
that is one of the things that's a fault with the Orville, which I don't necessarily blame them for. They've got a bunch of former TNG writers on their staff, but these are writers that have relished in the popularity of their work for around 20 years. They've never had to be challenged in the way that they were when they were writing the show at that time. Now it's basically, oh, you guys wrote one of the most successful Star Trek shows of the 20th century. Any comments we have, you can immediately dismiss because you've got Emmys and awards and accolades that you've earned. But you have to remember the reason you earned those is because someone challenged your initial execution of the idea so that you yourself would make it better. And I don't think that challenge is being afforded on a show like The Orville, which is why I had issues with in the first season with the Topa episode. I thought half of it was amazing and the other half was terrible. And then the follow-up to I thought was pretty good, but it was very on the nose. It didn't have the same type of nuance that I was hoping for. And then the whole election thing there, that could have been a great, more abstract episode, but they kind of hit really too strongly on the comparisons of current era to make it as meaningful as episodes like The Drumhead or Private Little War or This Side of Paradise and so forth of various other Star Trek shows.
Well,
and I
one
like
thing,
Drumhead,
too.
by the way. It's one of my favorites. But let's close up on this one. Any last thoughts on this episode from everybody on the Orville?
Well, you know what? Guys. I didn't mind it as much. I kind of understood why they told him, because this season's been really about working on their relationships more. Now, I agree with you. I personally wouldn't have told him. But you wanted to at least have some way of revealing that their friendship with him means a lot, and that they wanted to make sure he knew the truth rather than having that come out some way in a future episode. For me, I found this to be a refreshing time travel episode, much closer to what they did in Farscape with the Locket, which was a very well written original time travel episode. So,
well, I got to tell you, my argument against that is that they did it in front of the family. It's just fucking cruel. There's no excuse for it.
Yeah.
Side, maybe.
I mean, at the very end, though, where they tell their version of Gordon what happened, No,
that needed to be there, so he would know what was actually going to come to lead to what should have been the ending of him sitting there looking at that phone that started the fucking episode.
Yeah.
And him pondering that.
Yeah, I didn't agree with them going back and having the argument. There was nothing to argue because you knew he was gonna. He wasn't going to easily make that decision.
There's also no conflict with him trying to stop
his
them.
His being there wasn't his fuck up. That was not his fault that he ended up in the past.
Well, and what ended up happening wasn't anybody's fault. That's exactly where they ended up. It wasn't like the Orville planned to leave him 10 years into the past. It's just the result of circumstances. They didn't have enough to be able to get back.
All right. So
one of the things is
alternatively, There was Eureka did this where they actually changed the timeline, but then they didn't change it back. So you could have actually had them in the future, and then them having to decide, okay, is this enough like what we're okay with? What has changed? And then there being a debate there.
Well, one thing also is we keep on looking at Orville as Star Trek, and it's not Star Trek. And characters are flawed, and we can take a look at it, and what makes us a little bit irritated is like, how can you make this mistake? And the thing is we know that the characters are flawed. We know they can make mistakes. This is probably a perfect example where they literally screwed up royally without intending to screw up royally, but it has such a lasting impact. And we have to remember this is its own creature. Or even though it's an homage to Star Trek Next Generation, which no, the Next Generation. Let's face it, that is what it is. Uh, it's not Star Trek Next Generation. That's not Picard on the bridge. We don't have number one on the bridge. We don't even have Data on the bridge. We have facsimiles. And when I say that, it's not an insult. It's just this is its own universe in its own way, and they're going to tell those stories in a different direction that Star Trek probably would not do, because so that we have to be perfect attitude all the time. These guys screw up, and that helps out in some ways of the stories. And yeah, it pisses us off.
It's not that I'm going to argue against what you're saying, but I'm going to tell you that every single episode of that series has the stink of Star Trek Next Generation on it.
Oh yeah,
and it just everything smells of it for a reason, because it's inspired by and meant to be like Star Trek Next Generation. But still, again, my issues are logic issues within storytelling, because Script and I talk about this shit all the time.
Yep.
That I would rather not give something to somebody, and I've been complained about. This has been said about me, that I will sit there and start having debates in my head about something happening within my script, because I'm asking the question that I know somebody else is going to inevitably ask. Like, why did you have this character do this? Why is this happening? And they don't bother sometimes to fucking deal with those things. And it bugs me, because you should spend time, because somebody in your audience is going to point that out, and then get mad about it is stupid.
It's character motivation 101. Every character has to have a goal. It doesn't even matter how minor they are. And that goal drives their actions and dialogue. And
that's where your believability comes from.
Yeah.
The suspension of disbelief and the use of verisimilitude occurs, is making everything believable. And when you have characters doing something that seem really like standing there in front of the fucking family and saying what they said, is just fucking awful.
It's without compassion. That's the other part too.
Right. That's it. There's the word I was looking for. No compassion whatsoever. And to threat, and like you said, Martin, they are threatening his family. In his eyes, I probably would have killed him.
Well, the thing is that I'm surprised that they didn't present that conflict at the midpoint of the episode and have the tug of war being Gordon Malloy versus Ed Mercer, and trying to prevent them from being able to go back further to change his life. Where because Gordon's a great pilot and he's not an idiot. He's just foolish, but he's not an idiot. If he found a way where he made it so that the Orville could only travel back to the future and not any further back in the past, that's your climax point. It's like Gordon finds a way aboard the Orville, and he's like, if I do this, you can only ever go back to the future. You can't go further back than this, no matter what. And that's where you have the reconciliation, that's where you have the Star Trek philosophy comes in, which is you have a family, and you have to present the detrimental effects. I mean, if you want to play, you can either do it with string theory, which is instantaneous, or you can play it with particle theory, which speculates that the elapsed time between the moment of time travel and how long it takes for someone in the past to have changed the future is going to be comparable into the future. So if it takes you, if you go back to, say, 1955 and you do something, between the time you arrive and the time you do something is how much time in the original present you have to go back and fix it and correct it, essentially. That's the theory. So if it takes you 4 weeks to change the direction of the future, you have 4 weeks in the present to go back and stop it from happening.
Undo it. I want to say hi to Penny. Penny is here in the chat, and so is Anima Confusa. I'm not sure. Weren't you here earlier? I think Anima was here earlier, and she's back.
Anima
So
was also.
Here's an alternative ending then from everything you said, Script. Because in
Hold on,
DS9, do you remember?
I'm doing the chat thing. Hold on.
Sorry.
So just in case, Anima, if you weren't here, good to see you. And of course, Penny, I want to address what you said there. I hated the ending. I cried when Gordon lost his family. They should have let him take them with him. That would have been nice. I understood their argument, but the fact is the way they handled everything was just horrible. There was no sensitivity or compassion.
Let alone for those people
to be run.
Plus,
what's that?
Plus, you're also not thinking about the people who would have been erased from time because Gordon made changes. You can't just think about what Gordon.
Yeah, they
had.
just erased 2 children.
No. What I'm saying is, you also have to think about that. If Gordon had been allowed to keep everything going, what about the people who would have been erased from time, even from the Orville, because of what Gordon had done?
Because
they did run they could have used Isaac to run a simulation of probability because they have the records that he lived to like 98 years old and died or something of that nature. So they know everything. It's all logged, so they can reconcile between what's logged and what they know, and try and figure this out. This is basic time travel mechanics when you're dealing with like in Flux, where you're like, oh, 2 timelines are overlapping with each other, and people who are aware that there's a change are going back and forth, like Guinan in yesterday's Enterprise. But yeah, like you really do need. They shouldn't have ran simulations to be like, if we leave him here, is the future does his presence really impact the future or does it not? And that's the question you have to do. They just said it does, and they don't know how or why. And yeah, they don't want to play, the deity of God, but at the same time, it's like, well, we have to reconcile the fact that he's made a life here. He's happy. The family he's made is happy. He's not miserable. He's not making life worse for anybody else. If anything, they do know the history of the woman. She didn't have kids in that initial episode.
That's right.
Background check on her, right? She
didn't have kids.
She didn't have a family at all. Yeah.
So you've already started. I would have written something in there about some of the Orville crew having disappeared or being slow to disappear, because it's that same thing. You can't have him have what he wants and not have any deleterious effects or after effects because of it. That's what the argument should have been, because Gordon knew that. He would have had to take a class on that. That's part of temporal mechanics. If Gordon gets what he wants, you're happy to get what you want, except that you've already cost a few people their lives, because they're not going to exist. That's it.
Like yesteryear.
Yeah, you've already played God.
Hold on. Shinatsky, you were wanting to say something before. Let's go ahead and get that so we can move on, because we're way over.
Yeah, just real quick. In DS9, remember the one where they went into the planet and they had crash land there, and they saw their descendants? And then Odo, at the end, made it so that instead of actually them going back and crashing, they went to the future to save Kira. That would have been an interesting ending to it. If Gordon had sabotaged it, that, we're going to go back, and he changed it so they go into the future to save his family.
Yeah, and also Bill Barkley brings this up, because this is what Script and I were talking about, is that episode where that device allowed him to have a lifetime in a millisecond. And he learns to play the piccolo or tin whistle or whatever the fuck that was.
Well, it's like a mini recorder or something of that nature, yeah.
Yeah. So, and it was a great episode, and it has that ending where even though it says that he didn't really live that life, he has those memories. And so he looks longingly and has that instrument that he now knows how to play. And that's how this episode should have ended. It would have been written correctly. I'm very disappointed, to be honest with you. I am more disappointed now than I was coming into the episode, the show today, because I really feel that they mishandled that entire episode. And there are ways that they should have gone that they didn't go.
There's tons of narrative avenues and possibilities that we just covered that would have been, dynamite dramatics.
Yeah,
exactly. So let's get on to the boys. This episode. There it is.
They fucking puss out, man. That's sucks.
I got to tell you, man. I half hate this show and half love it, because I really dislike the anti-superhero thing that fucking what's his name that created it.
Garth
Grant
Ennis.
Morrison?
Garth Ennis. I fucking
Garth Ennis, sorry.
hate his superhero
yeah.
shit. I think
Garth
he's a
Ennis
real
sucks.
cunt. Because he goes too far with the whole power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And he hates superheroes. He talks shit about comic books. Superhero comic books ruin comic books. And I'm like going, what are you talking about? There would be
They
no
saved
comic
comic
books if
books.
not for superhero comic. Garth Ennis is a fucking idiot. But he's
brought
also
in
very
He writes
talented.
military books, I'm told.
Yeah, well, he's actually very talented. But I think that he's got a warped fucking mind that's so skewed that he doesn't understand how people actually. Everybody is a cynical douche in his fucking world. Every person is a cynical douche.
Yep.
And
He brought
anybody
in
who is upbeat or something like that is presented as a Pollyanna. Every single upbeat person is a Pollyanna. He goes to absolutes all the time, and it gets really tiresome. And what I did like about this episode is we finally saw a human side to fucking Homelander.
Yeah.
That really kind of knocked me for a loop. I'm like, holy shit.
How did Garth allow that? I mean,
What's
Garth
that?
Ennis brought in. How did Garth Ennis allow that? I mean, he brought in some of the weakest era of Judge Dredd. He kind of goes with the Alan Moore attitude. There is no heroes.
Well, I got to tell you, Seth Rogen is the uncoolest fucking Rogen out there. Joe Rogan is the coolest. He is on the opposite end of the spectrum. I can't stand him. I can't stand listening to him laugh in particular. What a dumb laugh he's got. Nothing endearing about that guy. But I like him as a showrunner because I like Preacher. Even though I felt that they abandoned the show, and so the finale was just terrible.
Preacher was kind of a bastardization of the actual comic. I mean, even The Boys is, because they changed
shit. Because they're not following what he's doing. Yeah.
Oh no, they're going in a very, very different direction from both of them. Like Preacher, I liked Preacher. I just hated a lot of the people that loved it so much that they thought it was the most original comic book ever. And I'm like, no, every idea in here I've seen a billion times prior. I don't know what you're talking. It's a great book, but I don't know what the heck you're talking about or how little you've read in your life before to think that, an entity that's born of a conception between an angel and a devil is a new and original idea. I'm like, no, that's old hat, man. Like they were.
Well, it's the same thing with Alan Moore. I think he's a hack. The best stuff he wrote was borrowed from other people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like Alex Kurtzman.
I mean,
but the thing is, like, he doesn't parody it though. That's the problem. Like,
yeah.
I mean, one of the best things I think Moore did was The Killing Joke, but the Watchmen was just taking the Charlton comic characters and bastardizing them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
My problem with the Boys TV series is very simple. If there's a woman, they're not going to have it nearly as bad as the men. And this is supposed to be like, we're the edgy show. We do edgy, extreme things. And it's like almost every major female character is in essence smarter and nicer than the males.
Boy, that's not my life.
I got to tell you, man. But I still do enjoy the show for the most part. I mean, Carl Urban is fucking amazing. And the Quaid kid, I really like him, man. He kind of reminds me of his dad.
Yeah.
Oh, I see his mom more than his dad.
Yeah.
I can't for some reason.
He's got a frailness to him.
That he does have a frailness because he looks like he could be broken very easily.
he's very much like his dad in the eyes, in the way that he'll look at people.
And
sometimes.
his nose. He's got his dad's nose.
Yeah.
On his chin.
Does he have a chin? Okay.
Yes.
No, I'm asking.
Yes.
You said
and I'm answering yes.
Oh, okay.
Also, I mean, I feel like they pushed out, especially after a certain explosion happens towards the end, and a character's still alive that should be fucking dead.
I don't know how they're going to explain that. I didn't like that either. They wanted to give her happy ending to run off with her lesbian girlfriend, and I'm like, I mean, not that
She
I'm
cheated
adverse
on that
to-
girlfriend with Butcher.
I know. Yeah. It's just like she just previous episode fucked the shit out of Butcher. It's like, what a weird way to end that. And I do call bullshit on that too. I thought that was bullshit. She should have been dead, fried.
Because even if she survived the explosion, she should be depowered and falling from a building, hitting the ground.
Exactly. So, but you know, overall, I'd still give that episode a C. And it's not the finale. We got more. Is that the finale?
That's the finale. Yeah.
That was the finale.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So
It was
yeah,
a
we're not
shorter
gonna-
season due to the pandemic. So yeah, they're currently this October they should be wrapping up season 4.
Wow.
Interesting. So, I guess the next one I want to go into. Let me get a graphic for it here. I'm really into the show because if you didn't see what I wanted to talk about today, I'll put up the graphic again. I wanted to talk about The Boys, For All Mankind, Orville, Strange New Worlds. We've gotten 3 of them out of the way, but there is another edition because I watched the first 2 episodes of Blackbird, which is based on a true story that took place right here in Springfield, Missouri, where Keith and I live. You know, that's where that took place, Keith.
Yeah.
The Blackbird story, because that's the medical hospital in Springfield, Missouri, that story takes place at, where he got the confession, where Keen got the confession from the killer.
Mm-hmm.
Right here. I'm fascinated by this show, and it's really fucking good.
Well, I mean, it's not the first thing to be about Springfield when you don't hear about Springfield. I mean, they even had an Academy Award nominated movie where the latter half of the plot takes place here in Springfield, but they never mentioned Springfield in the movie. So, you know, The People versus Larry Flint.
Oh,
Yeah, and I'm trying to get a graphic here so I can show you guys this thing. It's really good. It's got the kid that is one of the front runners for playing Logan, young Logan, Wolverine.
Taron Egerton?
Yep.
Yeah, Taron Egerton is the star of the show, and it is the last thing as I recall, this is the last thing Ray Liotta did.
Yeah.
And Ray Liotta is based on the real cop, chief of police in Chicago, father of the King kid. And he fell into a bad crowd because his football career didn't take off like it was supposed to. And the guy that they're trying to get the confession from is definitely mentally ill. There's no question about it. But they still need to get this confession because they got to get this guy off the street. He is a murderer. And the problem is he's got like a split personality because he sees the killings, but he sees them as dreams. And it's not stuff that he's doing in his real life. There's stuff that's happening in his dream state. But they are happening. He's doing them. And they actually lock into it. In episode 2, they lock into early. Greg Kinnear plays the lead detective investigating the murders. And here's the graphic here, Blackbird. The guy on the left is the serial killer. And, of course, Taylor, what's his name?
Kitch.
Kitch. No, the guy on the right that plays Keen.
Taron Egerton.
Taron Egerton, not Taylor, but Taron. Taron is a really good character. And he's playing this kid who fucked up. He fucked up. Got involved with the drug community. And ended up in that big operation in Chicago getting busted. Operation Snowblow back in early 90s. And he got picked up in that, man, and did a deal to where he was only supposed to see a couple years in prison, but gets screwed by the prosecuting attorney and the judge, and ends up being given 10 years in prison. And it's like, oh my God, he gets so totally fucked by the attorney. But the attorney turns right around and comes back to him to make a deal where if he will go undercover and help elicit a confession from this killer while he's in custody there at the hospital in Springfield, that they will let him out. That'll be it. Time served. You're out. And so he finally, and especially after his dad, Leota's character has a stroke, just like in real life, the real man had a stroke. And the mother, I mean, she's kind of a bitch in it for doing this, but I understand her. She attacks the son while in prison. I know your dad told you not to make this deal. You need to make this deal because if you stay in his prison, you're going to kill your father. The stroke happened because of what you did and that you're here. And so it breaks him down and he agrees to the deal. And of course, here's a great shot of him here. And this is, man, he is beefed up in this. And definitely I can see him playing Logan. He's a really good actor.
Oh, yeah.
I could really see it. And he's one of those front runners that I've talked about previously that I think he would make a good Wolverine. And
me, Carl
Harry
Urban,
Potter.
myself. That's who I think.
Carl's too old.
Yeah, he's too old.
Yeah.
Carl's too old. You need somebody that's going to stay young enough to play the role for a decade.
At least.
And
keep Carl as Judge Dredd.
But again, here it is. Blackbird is the series. And I've watched the first episodes and wow, this is a good show. And it is. And what I really do like is even though you're kind of sympathetic towards the killer in it, he's dangerous. You got to get him off the street. But the fact is it's not sensationalizing the murders, and that's that is a tightrope when you make shows or films like this, biopics about people who were murdered by a real person. And so they handled it with a lot of care when it dealt with the murders, and definitely has a lot of sympathy for the victims. So if you haven't checked it out, man, it's on Apple TV. You got the first 2 episodes right now available. And really good fucking acting in that show. I was really shocked at how good it was because most of these kinds of shows and films usually come at you from such an angle that involves identity politics. And it annoys me. None of that in this. None of it. Every single character is based on a real person, including the female that's involved. She was an agent that worked with the lead detective, played by Kinnear. And so they pretty much stick to the facts in this show. So if you want to check it out, go check that shit out. Let's see, what else are we going to talk about today? We got For All Mankind or The Old Man. What do you guys want to talk about next?
The Old Man.
Old Man.
I want you to start this one out, Keith, because I liked what you said to me the other day, that this was the way that they were supposed to do another film that became a franchise that was supposed to be a one-time film.
Yeah. The I don't know if you guys know this, but the script for John Wick is actually a little different than what we actually got as a movie. The original script, when it was received by the production company, was for a character that's about the same age as Jeff Bridges is right now. So that when Keanu got a hold of it and wanted to do it, all they really did was just change the age of the character and made him younger, comparatively. But I think it was only just supposed to be one story. I don't think there were any sequels involved. But it was just meant to be a man in his late 70s.
Going after guys who killed his dog.
So basically, you're with The Old Man as the television series. To me, it's like a cross between Breaking Bad and John Wick. So it is really well done. Especially a lot of the sequences where you get things in his imagination, especially with episode 2. Oh my God! But you're talking a guy who seems to be a little frail, who's actually one badass mother effer.
Yeah, when you start seeing him going into action, there's some really good fight scenes.
And they don't try to Hollywoodize it too much. I mean, he does get hurt being that old, but oh my God.
Yeah, when he fights that one agent on that dirt road, that guy fucks him up.
Yeah.
But he wins because he's smarter and he's more seasoned. He's been in action more, so he knows more than this guy. And of course, his dogs are fucking amazing, and they save him in that fight. The dogs fuck that dude up because
I haven't seen this show, but
I'm under the impression that he's been out of the game for 30 years, so he's
Yes.
Well, they've been
So-
in hiding because
Okay.
in order to, and they're slowly letting the story unravel as we go. And we get to meet the younger versions of John Lithgow, the girl that is there in Afghanistan, and Jeff Bridges' character. And basically, he just wants to kill Russians. That's what he's there for.
Yeah.
I like killing Russians. He hates Russians.
I think
so.
I think the simple way to tell the story is it's an old man who's just recently within the last few years, lost his wife. He's got no one else but his dogs.
Love these dogs, man. They're great.
And someone shows up to kill him, or at least in his mind to kill him. And,
well, he had a silencer.
And basically, he messes the guy up mainly because he knows the house. He kept it dark. He knows where everything is in his own house. This guy doesn't.
Traps and little man-made alarms all over the house that tripwires that'll signal him.
And he was able to take this guy out.
And the dogs help too, because the dogs are holding him down on the floor, mouth on his throat. And then he tells the dog, he gets the gun away from the guy and tells the dog to let go. And he asks him a question, something like, who sent you? The guy won't respond, and he just kills him. And that's when you know immediately Jeff Bridges' character doesn't fuck around. And I like guys like that. That's basically John Wick. This is like a really older version of John Wick in many ways, just with a lot less martial arts and more realistic hand-to-hand combat that both people are going to get hurt doing it.
Well, especially for a guy his age. And I got to say, as they begin to reveal the story, you understand that...
well, I want to go back to the beginning because you see quick memories of recent days with his wife who is older. And she's clearly Middle Eastern. And she's losing her mind. And then she says this scary line when he goes into the bathroom, which is, I guess, his personal nightmare is when she looks at him, she goes, I know what you are. And it's something he's terrified of because he knows he's a killer. You know, it's what he is. He's a killer. And he's tried to live this life. They have a daughter. We don't get to meet the daughter. We hear her for a while. We don't know who she is. And I got to be honest, I was trying to figure out who the daughter was right from the get-go. Oh, my God, who's that daughter? Because I recognize that voice. And when you find out who the daughter is, it's like, oh, shit. You know, holy shit. You know, I don't want to give you too much of a spoiler on this because if you're wanting to see it like you script, I'm telling you, I like the writing on this show. It's very real.
Well, it's very much like Breaking Bad. You get a reveal slowly of the story and of
what led them to be in this position and why is he being hunted.
And he's not surprised. This is someone who's been living for 30 years.
He said it was a long time coming. Exactly.
Yeah, it's like this was gonna happen eventually, and this is just when it's happening, and so I love Jeff Bridges. I love everybody in this show, but Jeff Bridges has given an amazing performance.
Yeah, Lithgow is great. He really is.
Lithgow is just...
And the casting of the two younger versions of him, even if they don't look like them, they act like them. So it's really good. And we're starting to find out what happened in Afghanistan that led to him fleeing with her and creating a false identity and becoming a couple in the U.S. and then having a daughter. Because I don't think they were in love in the beginning. I think that is just something that inevitably happened because they shared this thing together. And his goal was to protect her. But I'm not there yet. I don't know how all this ended up happening. But we do know that his daughter, Bridges' daughter, is mixed into this deeply. And she's playing a major part in this. And he meets a woman who really has nothing to do with this, but because of his association with her, she's now in danger.
Yeah,
And so he kidnaps her, but eventually she comes to terms with what is going on, and she finds her own angle to everything. And everybody is really well written. They're really well written characters.
Although the whole mental aspect, when he starts to imagine when they get pulled over at episode 2,
oh,
I didn't even see that one
I
coming.
don't want to tell anybody that. No spoilers
my.
on this one. You've got to watch that one. When the cops pull him over, him and the girl, her character's name is Zoe, and holy shit, what happens in that fucking scene? I was like, fuck, fuckity, fuck, and I'm not going to tell you what happens, so I'm going to shut the fuck up. But this is a show that if you like really suspenseful thrillers that are psychological dramas, this is definitely up there with a little bit of action, because he does take action. So it's got everything that I like in a film, and it's a show, and I get it every week, once a week. Yeah. So very good show. Anybody else watch it, or are we the only ones that watched it?
I hadn't even heard of it till you mentioned it today.
I haven't seen it yet. No.
Absolutely check it out. Then it's on FX. It's very highly rated right now by viewers. Hi, Maria. How are you doing? Who else has joined us? Anybody else? War Monkey, my other favorite monkey, is here. Awesome sauce. I guess we can now move down to the last one, which is For All Mankind. And are you guys all caught up with this?
Nope.
No, I haven't seen an episode of the show yet.
This is woke done right.
You are muted, Keith, by the way. You were talking.
Oh, sorry. I haven't seen the show, so.
I haven't either.
It's written by Ronald D. Moore, one of the best writers on Star Trek during the 90s. He worked all the way up to everything except for Enterprise. Because of Enterprise, he walked out and said, fuck you guys, and left.
Good, smart move.
And it's not like he doesn't know how to fuck up, because he fucked up in the second half of Battlestar Galactica. The second half of the series was just a mess. And he fucked up with Helix. I thought the second half of the first season fucked up, and then season 2 was just garbage.
Man in the High Castle, I think, was his also.
I liked that show. Philip K. Dick, good stuff. Good show.
And the time travel one about the woman who goes into the past, into the Highlands of Scotland. Yeah, Outlander was also his.
Oh, Outlander's one of his too. That's a good show.
No, Outlander was
loves
good.
that show.
Actually, Ridley Scott was Man in the High Castle.
Okay, that was Ridley Scott.
Okay. All I know is it's a good series. But this show, and here's the graphic for the new season. Hold on a second, it's still uploading.
I think he also.
Yeah, if I could address Helix for a second, because War Monkey's bringing something up in the chat here that I agree. Yeah, I really enjoyed the first season of Helix. It kind of felt like The Thing in a way.
Well, that's what it was. Okay, hold on. I'm going to give you a quick education on that show. But here's the graphic For All Mankind. I love this show. They're going to Mars in the 90s. The space race never stopped in this series. So you've got a private company that's sort of like Elon Musk's versus NASA versus the Soviet Union, which has secretly stolen the plans for the American ship to use on their own. And that's a whole story all by itself that I really find interesting. But For All Mankind is a really interesting show. And it's an alternate universe from our own, even though stuff will still pop up, songs in particular or movies, that just Ronald D. Moore is saying that this movie would have happened or this song still would have happened no matter what. You know, like Black Hole Sun. Black Hole Sun was actually used as the theme of one of the episodes. And I think that's the only reason why it supposedly survived the alternate timeline. Because he wanted to use it in the show. But it's straight up science fiction, alternate timeline. Things are different. The Russians beat us to the moon. We end up in a battle on the moon. There's a firefight inside of a moon base, but it ends up stopping because of one American astronaut docking with a Russian ship and them reaching across and shaking hands on international television, and it stopped all hostility. And I think that something like that would have, it's interesting. I could get past the first two episodes for all mankind. Literally, fell asleep during both episodes. No, it's a slow burn. Look, if you're not into slow burn shows, don't fucking watch this show. It's not going to be for you. I like slow burns. Ronald Moore is building a universe, and he didn't have very much money for a season. He had to prove it. And one of the things I'm talking about with identity politics is, how many women are getting ahead. And there are a couple of statements made by females in it that annoyed me. But the fact is absolutely, I believe it would have happened that way. I do believe that it would have happened that way if Russia had beat us, and this was how we had to compete with Russia going into the space race, all the way in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, still fighting to find supremacy. And the funniest moment in this finale, and I'm going to fucking spoil it. I don't care. I thought it was hilarious. The Russian, their ship gets fucked up and it goes into a meltdown. They fucked up with their engines. And so the Americans have to rescue them, and one of their American personnel trying to rescue him ends up getting squashed by the ship when it lists in space and crushes him on the outside of their ship. Fucking awful. And then the Russians come aboard the American ship, the NASA ship, and they're going together. But the deal was that the U.S. would make the first step on Mars because they end up winning the race. NASA does. And but the Russians like, I do not remember making such a deal. And he starts to go out the ramp. And so you see live, everybody's watching Times Square, all this shit. And you see the ramp, you see feet coming down. You see both an American and the Russian coming down the stairs at the same time. And everybody goes, oh, look at this. They're coming down the stairs at the same time. And then you see them reaching around each other. And they're look at that. They're doing it arm in arm. And then it ends up with them going to the ground in a fight. And that's the end of the episode of them fighting on the ground on Mars. In a space-suited fucking fisticuff. It just laughed my ass off at that ending. I'm like, that's a great ending. I thoroughly enjoy that show. It's a slow burn, though, and I get it, War Monkey, if you don't get into that. I've been a slow burn film and TV show guy for a long time, since the 70s, because I watched a lot of English programming, and you know this script, a lot of slow burn stuff. A lot of slow burn TV shows, especially the one that's it's sort of about the circus, but they don't call it that. And I forget the name of the show. Sandbaggers, and I owe that to Chatto for me watching that show because he recommended it to me. And I fucking love that show. Absolute slow burn show.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about Carnival. If you ever saw that one on HBO.
What's that about?
Carnival? Yeah, Carnival.
No, I'm not into that show. I'm really weird about fantasy. When it starts skirting fantasy, you better fucking give me some stuff. And when I saw the trailers for Carnival, I just wasn't interested in it. But Keith, I can't remember. You haven't watched it either. Am I the only one that's watched For All Mankind?
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I've been wanting to see it, but I don't. Yeah, that's not something I'm able to.
Well, here it is, For All Mankind. I love that graphic. Can you drop Bill Barkley just for a second? Because on the graphic, you'll see there's a hand. Mm-hmm. And I'm very engaged in this show. And I don't think that was the end of the season. I think there's still more to come. So I'm looking forward to it. And Kinnaman's a really good fucking actor. I like that kid. He did really good in RoboCop, even though the movie sucked. I did have it saved with like 30 minutes left to watch of it, besides the shut up Wesley parts. It's incredible.
Yeah.
But I
Agreed.
highly recommend it if you like slow burn sci-fi that's more grounded in reality with all the drama. This is a good show for you. Past that, I
Sounds like
think that
Ben Bova would do it, right?
yeah, you know, it's a good show. I think we reached the end of that. I think I got everything in there. The boys said, yep, that's it.
Yep.
There we go.
That's on HBO Max.
For
It
All
is yes.
Mankind?
For All Mankind, yeah. I think that is on HBO Max.
No, that's an Apple TV.
No, it's
That's
Apple
Apple
TV.
Apple.
Apple TV.
Oh, Apple TV. Okay.
I just looked.
So
So two of these shows are on Apple TV. And Apple TV is, they're facing the woke issue, which is they want people watching, so they need to move away from woke. It's the same thing, they're doing with the deal with Discovery with Warner. Is it's not that you're not going to still have woke, you need to move away from it so much and focus on making stuff that people are going to want to watch and keep watching. So I sent an invite to Dork. I don't know why he didn't join us. But hi, Dork. Good to see you, buddy. But we are at the end of this episode. That's 2 hours. Script.
Yeah.
You got anything you want to add to Ronald D. Moore as a writer?
He doesn't know how to stick a landing, and I feel sorry for him on that, because that's kind of like the most important part. He's a great concept guy, very good at executions of the ideas he has.
I think he's really good. Do you think he's good when he's being managed instead of being lead, like showrunner?
I think it's really up in the air, because it depends on how much power he has. Like, even being managed, he could still have a whole lot of influence over a show, especially when he's being showrunner. No, I think he probably would work better as a team. Definitely the type of guy who you'd want to start a show, but not the type of guy you want to close it out.
Because that's what he did when he was with Star Trek, because he worked within teams. And he did really well with, what's his name, Bear, on Deep Space Nine.
Stephen Bear, yeah.
They were a good team. And I love that in that documentary, you got to see them come up with a whole new episode.
Yeah.
Right in the documentary. And I was like, that's what I like seeing. And I think
those are the best writing sessions. I've been in like 3 of those when we're given a premise to pitch to develop a pilot. It's you and 5 other writers, and you're just shooting the breeze trying to come up with stuff, and you're playing around with everything you can. And you basically have 4 or 5 giant whiteboards, and you just lay out what you're trying to do.
You start doing it. I love shit like that.
Yeah, and it's usually done over a couple of days. Yeah.
Bill, we are on every Friday and Saturday, 2:00 Central Time on Fridays for TGIF. We are on as a group on Saturday for Saturday morning fun time at 12 noon Central Time, but it's still morning in Mountain and Pacific. So half the country is morning and the other half is noon and afternoon. But I call it morning because fuck it. I like the name Saturday morning fun time. And I also, Monday through Friday, I do morning coffee with Gary. I'm going to start regularly doing a thing about Skinwalker Ranch. Oh, now he sees the invite.
Oh,
End of the show, and I'm doing the closeout, and then you show up.
No,
He's good at that.
I didn't know you sent me an invite until you said it, and so then I looked. I just assumed, like
you need to just check your fucking messaging. When I became aware of you, you should fucking go check your messaging.
Okay, man.
Hex Allen Comics, hello, what is up, man? Good to see you. We are at the end of the show. Once again, Monday through Friday. 10 o'clock Central Time in the mornings. You can catch me doing my morning coffee with Gary, where I can talk about a sundry of subjects, but I will be making it regular talking about Skinwalker Ranch because I'm fascinated by it, and I've been meeting more and more people engaged with it, and I want to talk more about what's going on there.
Can I ask something? Real quick?
Hold on. Wednesdays,
okay.
We're going to be doing, Steven and I do a show on our channel once a week. And then next week we do it on his channel, which is Shit Talk with Steve and Gary. And then on Tuesdays, we have not a live show, but a premiere. And I'm always in the chat. And sometimes Keith and the others are in the chat, called Scoop Zone, where we talk about the latest scoops and news and rumors from Mikey Sutton's Geek Off City. because we're friends with Mikey. We're going to have an interesting show this week because of our private conversations with Mikey Sutton this week. A lot of stuff going on with Marvel. I'm not sure how much I'm excited about, but some of it I am. Even though I don't like Disney Plus, they can go fuck themselves. But anyway, Skinwalker Ranch is really interesting, so I'm going to do a show at least once a month. But go ahead, Dork. Now I'm done.
Oh yeah, no worries. So back to you were saying about you're explaining the title of this show, Saturday morning fun
Saturday morning
time,
fun time,
blah
right.
blah blah. It's like half the country. So to solve that, why don't you just move the show back 2 hours? Is that too early for you on a Saturday? And then it's morning everywhere when you start.
No, because Steven has a show in the morning that he didn't do today, but I promised to leave mornings to him and Brandon.
Oh, okay. Well, then
They do that, and then we do the follow-up show after them, and that way both of them come on my show, and we just celebrate Saturday mornings because since I was a kid I love Saturday mornings.
No worries, that's cool.
mean,
And then I just wanted to.
I love it so much. I created this just for Keith and I.
That's cool.
I do have one last thing I'd like to ask for Script Doctor. So, doesn't know how to think. How many people actually plan out their endings in Hollywood? Because it seems like I've noticed there's this trend right where they don't seem to know how their stories are going to end, and they, like Damon Lindelof's a good example. He seems to not know how a story's going to end. He's just going to kind of write, and then it will just end. Like, how much actual planning tends to actually happen in most writers' rooms? And
well,
why don't people have their
experienced
ending worked out?
experienced writers who are worth their salt usually have an ending in mind when they come up with their conception. Ideally, it's the default is you're doing a show, and you have to figure out. Okay, you come up with your concept, you come up with your ending, and then you figure out how many episodes am I telling this over a season and how many seasons. Those are the main questions you ask. If you don't answer any of those questions, you shouldn't be pitching or even developing a show. When it comes to Damon Lindelof, he's not a writer. He's the type of guy who knows how to sell. He's a salesman. He's should not even be allowed to go anywhere near a computer or word processor for writing. Same with J.J. Abrams. I'd rather have him as a director, a producer, and a salesman, but not a writer, because he just doesn't know how to do it.
He
even
used
regarding
to
Henry,
actually know how to write.
contentious.
Well, I still like that fucking movie because Harrison Ford sold it, and that little girl Birch.
Yeah, there's been recent contention that J.J. may not have written that script.
Oh, because he got paid the highest amount for that script. First time screenwriter.
Yeah, he started a bidding war for it. That's why.
So whoever asked that question originally, I think to kind of piggyback off of what Script Doctor says, if you take a look at, and some people are probably going to groan, if you take a look at Enterprise, for example, they knew what they wanted the ending to be, but they thought they were going to have 7 seasons to do it. That's why there's such a huge time jump between the penultimate episode and the final episode. So that
to a point. Here's the thing, though. Part of it was the fact that while they did have an idea, it wasn't something that they were really certain on. It was very fluid.
Right, yeah, but
and
things like
on,
the Federation being formed in that final episode was always the plan from day one, for example.
Yes, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
They finally admitted that, a lot of what they did with Riker and all that stuff was not well thought out.
It was
that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen, because both of those characters are way too old to play the way those characters were for when they were doing that. They should have just said it during the time of the movies and not said it during Next Generation.
Living out here in Vegas, I got
another one to add. The stupid temporal guy who's in shadows in the first episode of Enterprise. Who the hell is he? What were his goals?
We never got it.
Daniels, right? That was his name.
Oh, that was a terrible story.
No. The bad guy from the pilot.
Yeah.
It's assumed that he's actually a Romulan, but it's.
Are you talking about the Suliban from
the temporal Cold War guy?
Yeah,
it was so bad you forgot about it.
The guy in the shadows. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not the Sullivan.
No, that was a terrible sub story. I understand why a bunch of writers.
I sent you a message in the private.
So
a while ago,
I did. Oh man, I forgot what I was gonna. Oh well.
Well, that's good because this is the end of the show. I was trying to wrap up. And,
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I show up at the end and I want to make it go longer. No, fuck you, man.
And we didn't
love
get
you, dork.
show and tell from Keith.
You know I love you. I sent you the fucking invite a while ago.
You did. And I'm like, oh, I'm such an idiot.
I want to thank Anima Confusa for being here, Bill Barkley, CJ Bat Punk, who I accidentally called Bat Spunk one episode. I was like, of course, Das Wölfen, Dennis McCullough, Flora from Under a Rock, Gap Stargate, Hex Allen Comics, Infomedia Live, Keely Chow, my favorite Keely, but not my favorite Chow, Kingsport Cal, of course, Kylock. I hope you feel better, Kylock. Somebody tell him that. We got so busy talking, I didn't get I read what he said. It's just he hurt his back 20 minutes before he went live, and you fuckers wouldn't let me wish him well because you got caught up in your fucking discussions. It sounds like a bitch done.
Yes, it does.
Tell us more,
But
Gary.
we're used to that.
The show's going longer.
I hope you feel better, Kylock. It really sucks that he hurt his back. Loki's Morning of Mischief was here. He couldn't join us because he was having computer problems. Maria with T and Telly. Penny was here. That's Dork Knight's mom. Scribe Light. I like Scribe a lot. Shanatsky, who is in here. And I'm sorry again. Fuck you, Martin.
I told you.
I told you, Lucy.
Just put my name in there, Martin. What's wrong?
Stephanie Brady, who's a good friend
you
of
got
mine.
some explaining to do, Gary.
Stone Pie Media, the Peter Vickman fan site, and my other favorite monkey was here, War Monkey, and of course our good friend Kyle, also known as Zax. I'm so grateful everybody showed up. It's not as big a crowd because all of our Canadian friends aren't here today. You are one of the few Canadians here, Script.
Yeah.
Of this
Well, I
fucking
guess
internet.
the majority of them are on one of the 7 internet providers, and only one of them is actually having issues with
Rogers.
mine.
What is Rogers? Is that a government-run thing, or what is that?
No, not a single one of our internet service providers are run by the government. They're administered by the CRTC, and they exist because the CRTC. Because at one point, Bell had the monopoly on telephones, and for a long time that was not an issue because Bell was actually behaving rather reasonably. They knew they had the monopoly, but they weren't exploiting people. And then they started exploiting people, and that's when the government got involved and said, you can't do this. And so they offered grants and funds for smaller companies that were trying to start up, that were being priced out of the market to grow. And now there's Rogers, there's Telus, there's Cogeco, there's Videox, or in Quebec, I can't remember what it's pronounced. There's a whole bunch of them now. And somehow one of them just went out for between 14 and 16 hours, depending on where you were in the country. And it happened during the window where they do software upgrades. So twice a year, every ISP does a software upgrade, usually between 2 to 4 a.m. At the low traffic points. And it only takes about 15 minutes to upload the upgrade. And I guess what ended up happening, there's some corrupt code in there or something happened during that upload, and it just shut their entire network down. Everybody else had internet. My girlfriend had to go down to her office to use her internet for work because she wasn't able to work from home yesterday. And me, I just went outside and plugged in my hard drive and started watching Star Trek that I have.
What'd you plug into, a tree?
What part of Canada are you in?
I'm in Ontario.
Ontario? Oh, okay, cool.
So we have established the fact here that we might not be big in America, but we're giants in Canada.
Nonsense.
We're
We're giants everywhere. Speaking of this super chat,
that was.
Did you guys talk about Thor 4 already? Did you guys see? Or you're trying to go? I'm sorry. We'll talk later. I just saw.
I'm not going to see it. I need to be paid $40 to watch it. That's 2 hours.
Maybe I'll send it to you. I
$20
went with my son.
I won't watch.
He loved it, but he's a
unless
kid,
paid to do so, because I'm pissed at what they did. I'm pissed at Taika Waititi, and if I'm going to watch it, I need to be paid for it. That's 2 hours I can't get back. But Das Wolfen, trying to think how to fucking share the link. I can't find you in the chat. You need to comment more. Say something else, Das Wolfen. Unless, oh wait, here we go. I found it. There. You now have a wrench. So you can share the link to your video for your Thor review.
Oh,
there you go, John. Thank you for your $2, and for your $2, I'm going to play you. Let's see, what video do I want to play you?
I just posted the link for you, Das Wolfen.
You know what? I'm so tired of some of these videos. Yeah, I'm too tired of these videos. I need to find another video. Somebody give me a better thank you video. Here, I'll just do this one. This is awesome. This one makes me laugh.
I like you. You have balls.
There you go.
You know what I think would be a good one that we'll have to clip out is Isaac trying to thank Charlie. That awkward scene. That would be a good, like, take that little clip out where he just ends it with, well, thank you, after she's like telling him she doesn't want the thanks. So that'd be funny. It's in the last Orville
so Keith
episode.
had to leave. So Keith left. So yeah, we're at the end of the show. Clearly, obviously. I want to thank everybody for being here. You guys on the panel, Baron Ormond-Tog. You can catch him tomorrow on.
Actually, no, we won't be because 24 is moving. He doesn't have good.
Oh, that's right. He doesn't have an internet right now. So
do you guys not have T-Mobile? Because I can do a hotspot off of my phone and I get like 100 megs down, like, and it works great, you know. So.
Oh, depending on the service provider, like all cell phone and internet was down from that service provider, so you can even be a hotspot because you didn't have a cell connection.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't just the internet; it was their entire network.
Okay.
Oddly enough, it's from one of the service providers that doesn't have a great network to begin with. Bell is probably the best one because it's a fiber optic from coast to coast. And it's never gone down like this ever. So yeah, that's something.
Where were you yesterday? There you go, Kingsport.
Hey, Kingsport Cal, I don't know if you're on Twitter. DM me, bro. They don't want me to keep talking, but I can answer all that for you if you want to, you know, hit me up on Twitter. My Twitter username is not there. No, it's Dork Knight LV. So same as my
Dork Knight LV. Even though when it's small print, it looks like Dork Knightly. Script Doctor, I want to thank you for being here, buddy. How are things going with you with your channel?
Well, it's in hiatus because I'm working on a whole bunch of other stuff right now, but hopefully I'll be able to get back into the swing of things once these jobs are concluded.
Yeah, me too, now that I've found new digs. Trying to get the swelling down in my feet because my feet really got swollen at that other house because of the circulation, bad seat.
Oh, you finally moved into your new place?
Yeah.
Nice.
And, but I want to thank you guys for being here, Dork Knight. Dork Knight, you can catch him on Salty Nerd Podcasts.
Well, not anymore. Not anymore. I'll be here every Saturday now. They remember I told you today was our.
Oh God, they gave you to us.
No, well, yeah, I get. Well, originally they were going to stop doing Saturday streams, but then Kadish was like, "No, man, we don't want to kill our momentum, so we're going to switch the format." So now they're going to rotate guests and do like a round robin thing. So yeah, you're gonna have to put up with me Saturdays now because I'll be here on Saturdays.
Fine. That's fine.
Damn it!
I know how to manage you. I know how to manage you and Fat Steven now.
Okay.
What I can't manage is Keith when he gets moving. Okay, Deleted's back. Deleted.
God grant me strength.
Where can we find you?
Steven, come on.
Deleted. Where can we find you?
Okay, well, I am going to be on Netter's Network this evening, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, along with Troy Pacelli, Aged Boomer, and Big Al Presents, and we're going to be talking about Blade Runner 2049.
Big Gay Al?
I'm not going to call him that.
Oh, hey, you got to put that link in there. I love
The
that
South
movie.
Park
I'd love
reference.
to watch you guys. I'd love to watch you guys talk about it.
That'll be really cool. Yeah, and of course, I wanted to mention you can always catch Script Doctor on Midnight's Edge, as well as I think you go on Polly's show too, right?
Polly's?
Yeah,
Oh,
who
the
else
King's
you go
Land.
on to? Because I know you're always on Midnight's Edge. I always catch you over there.
Yeah, when I have time, I'm over there. Typically Sundays, I like to join Nina Infinity's channel for their season
Nina
reviews
Infinity.
of various shows. I'm trying to try and make it this Sunday, but it's I have to catch up a lot on the show that they're watching is the Terminal List, I believe. So
God,
I don't make it
so
check
good.
it out.
I finished it and I love that show.
Terminal List was
loved it.
so good. Oh
That
my
first
God.
episode was fucking with me so bad. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Is this in his head? Is
Dude,
he
and they kept
crazy?
doing that thing where flashing where where he's questioning his own memory. Like, was I trying to kill myself in the end? Like,
Yeah,
like
because
they flash those.
yeah, are they gaslighting me or is this what happened?
Yeah. God, it was
it's
so
just
good.
fucking great episode.
Yeah.
How far into it are you, Script?
I haven't been able to finish the first episode yet, unfortunately.
Oh God, dude! It's
Because
so
I was
good.
watching it
After you
off
do-
of Amazon online, and then the internet went out.
Can you do me a favor when you finish it? Let me know, and then I'd like it if you can pop on just one morning, and I'll just dedicate it to talking about what they did right and what they got wrong.
Oh my God, that would be awesome. I'm surprised because when
just
Gary,
be you, Martin, and me.
okay, that's fine. When Gary recommended it to me,
I'm not excluding
I
you.
set
It
up.
was-
I set up my. That's fine. I'm just kidding. I
okay.
set up my. I have this home theater thing with like a projector, and I put it out in my backyard under my patio, so it's like my own little private outdoor movie theater, and I love it. And I watched. I started. I just planned on watching the first episode, and I started at like 11 o'clock at night. And my dumbass didn't go to sleep because I could not stop watching it. I watched all 8.
Yeah, I binged
episodes.
it and watched it in one
Yeah.
night. But let's get to Shinatsky. Shinatsky, where can we find you? Other than,
On Twitter,
like, here.
On Twitter at Shinigami, as in Death God in Japanese. Actual like list handle will be just Shinatsuke, same image as the one you see here.
I can hear him typing. Isn't that
When
cool?
is that, Steven? When is that? I got the link. Thank you. When is that show going to come on? When are you guys doing that stream about 2049?
10 p.m. Eastern Standard.
Today?
Today.
Awesome. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
7
and-
my time. Right on.
Now, does anybody wonder why I'm not going to be on there?
Probably
Because
because
you
you
don't
feel
even
the same way I do about
We're-
2049.
As much as I enjoyed the writing and the story itself, where they've adventured in it, I had problems with the story still, and I didn't feel like it was genetically related to Blade Runner. It didn't feel like it didn't have the DNA of Blade Runner in it. Oh, we got Harrison Ford. We use word spinners. We use rep detect. We use replicants. But the fact is, it doesn't look like the same world. And it's
Would
not
you say
that
that
far.
2049 is a replicant of Blade Runner?
I would say that, and have said that. I made that joke before, and I'm
Right
glad
on.
to see you making that joke.
I
Because
tell you
it
what,
means I
the
made a good
Vegas
joke.
scenes were just so
You are
beautifully
far
done.
Well,
you are far kinder than I am, Gary. I'm like, this isn't Blade Runner. It says it's Blade Runner, but it's not Blade Runner.
Well, I see it as much a Blade Runner as the 2 book sequels was, or were, and don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the books, but they still weren't a real sequel to Blade Runner. If it doesn't have the same feel of the universe, it's sort of like you want to see a film that kind of feels like a sequel. Watch The Two Jakes. It feels connected to the first film. It's still Los Angeles, and Los Angeles still feels the same. And Jake Gittes is now the right age because he went through the war, and now he's a war vet, and it's the early 50s. And I really enjoyed The Two Jakes. Even though I heard it's sad that it ended the relationship between Jack Nicholson and Robert Towne, because Towne wanted to go a certain way and Nicholson didn't agree with him, and that ended their friendship, their 35-year friendship.
By the way, Town and Fincher are supposedly doing a Chinatown series.
I'll have an opinion on that when I fucking see it. I like Robert Towne, I really do, but I don't know if I want to see this show because I love Chinatown
I don't either.
and The Two Jakes.
I'm just letting you know it's coming.
Oh, I know. I've been aware of it. We've been seeing the news popping up here and there, and I'm not that because I think we did one about 4 months ago talking about it, and I was clearly not excited by it. I'm like, okay, we'll see.
There's one thing I do have to say about Replicant Runner, or the second one. That tall purple hologram has a cute butt.
Oh,
Look,
yes,
that girl
she
is
does.
gorgeous. That girl is wonderful. And that's all I got to say about her. But no, there were things in the film still I did like. I liked the potential of war coming. I love that. I'm like, oh, there's an avenue we should have really ventured into. But we'll see. We'll see. I think Ridley Scott's series is going to suck. His Blade Runner series.
Yeah, what people complained about for the original movie that was slow and meandering, no, that criticism implies in spades to 2049. Because the original Blade Runner is like 2 hours. What, 1 hour, 57 minutes? 2049 is 2 hours and
I've always wanted to see a
45?
fan edit of Blade Runner 2049 because this is a problem when a director gets too involved in the editing, the scenes end up being cut too long because they were meandering when they shot the scene. So they want that meandering to be there in the edit. And it's a huge mistake. That's why you need real editors in the editing bay doing the editing that know how to cut together. Like, I just forgot his name. Oh my God. The guy that did the fan edit of Last Jedi. Oh my God. I can't think of his name right now. Ivan Ortega.
Ivan Ortega.
Ivan Ortega is a very good editor.
Yes, he is.
Or even Joey explaining the plot that we've already seen repeatedly. Like, just in case the audience didn't get it.
Yeah, so 2489 was all a buildup for that moment when he dies on the stairs.
Well, I thought, and
finding out that he wasn't Pinocchio.
I wrote a review when it came
thought
out.
he survived.
I wrote a review when it came out, and I still feel this way, and I've watched it a couple times. It is just a beautiful piece of art to look at. Like, that's the way I look.
It is gorgeous.
Like, the scenes, like when you first come into Vegas, that is gorgeous, and the music and the so I wish the story was better, and I wish it made more sense. And I felt like, correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, because I always felt like Decker was not a replicant, and I feel but I feel like because of Ridley Scott and all the BS, I feel like they kind of leaned into, well, maybe he like.
Well, there's a whole story that got revealed in our Blade Runner special that some of which I wasn't even aware of, but I know that the fight started between Ford and Ridley all over again, and Ford was going to back out, and Alcon Entertainment was like, we'd rather lose Ridley than Ford.
Yeah.
So bye-bye, Ridley. But there was more to it because Katie Haber and Michael Dealey were also excluded, and the reason why is because of Bud York, or was it's the partnership, Bud York and Jerry Parenchio. They stepped in and kept Michael Dealey and Katie Haber. We wouldn't have even had the 1982 film if not for Katie Haber. And so, but I don't want to get into this. This is all academic, as Tyrell said. You're as made as well as you could be made.
Whom we just lost not too long ago.
Blade Runner 2049, Skin
He
Deep.
died this week. But 2049 is a film that I think you should watch, but I don't consider it a film connected by any kind of DNA to Blade Runner. It just doesn't even feel the same. So I'm not interested. But
hey, Pacific.
Good luck on the show tonight, Stephen. I hope you guys do well.
There's going to be varying opinions tonight, I think, and even though I obviously
that's why
like
I
the
shouldn't
movie
be
better
there
than you guys did. I have some issues with it as well. So, one of them is the length.
Everybody
I do
tune
agree that
into
it's far
tonight.
too long.
You put the link in the chat,
I give
right?
you permission
I did.
to like things I
Okay,
don't.
Oh, and so do I.
How dare you give him permission? So I want to thank everybody for
all
being
of the
here.
points that have been made are valid.
Yep. There it is again. Thanks for popping that back up there. That is where to watch it. Netters Network. Go watch that tonight. I will check it out actually later. I've got a lot of work I got to get caught up on tonight because I'm just getting set up here in the studio. They gave me a nice area here to work in. I have a corner off the kitchen.
That was my fault, Penny. I brought it up.
Yes, I know. You bring up Blade Runner, and I'm fucking out every time. I'm like a fucking bass going for that fucking lure. I want to thank everybody for being here, except for Martin for his fucking laughing at me all the time. You laugh at me. It makes me mad. Anyway,
I laugh at you.
It doesn't feel like
Okay, you talk about Blade Runner.
He say you Blade Runner.
It's love laughing.
He say you Blade Runner.
Yeah, there you go. So I want to thank everybody, and of course we just dossed this guy this week.
She's beginning to suspect, I think.
Suspect? How can it not know what it is?
Commerce is our goal here at Tyrell. More human than human is our motto.
Fucking love that, man. Joe Turkel died this week. We lost a lot of actors, movie stars.
We did.
Joe Turkel is one of the few actors, not the only, one of the few actors to be in multiple films by Stanley Kubrick. And Kubrick liked him. And he's a good actor. If you've never seen him in Sand Pebbles, fucking watch that movie. Very good actor, Joe Turkel. Could not memorize his lines, so he always had to have cue cards nearby. Shut up, Pete. But I want to thank you guys for all being here. Script, thanks. I love you too, buddy. Thanks for being here, buddy. I really mean it. Glad everybody showed up. Even Dork Knight showed up late. It was okay. It's all right. Oh no. Gary loves the Beverly Hillbillies. Yes, I do. It's true. And I want to thank everybody for being here. It's a lot of fun. Salty Texas channel is under attack. Stop in if you okay. I will. I'll swing by. But anyway, thanks again, everybody, for being here. And I'm going to sign us off here with a very simple outro that goes like this.
Hey guys, thanks for watching Pop Culture Minefield. If you've enjoyed the show, please make sure to like, subscribe, and don't forget to click the bell icon for updates on our show.
I'm watching you, Dork Knight.
Also, please leave a comment, and we'd like to know what you thought of the episode, as well as letting us know if there's something you'd like us to cover in a future episode.
I swear he needs to blow his nose. Doesn't it sound like he needs to blow his nose?
Make sure to visit our membership page
And to our Canadian friends,
and merch
please watch
store
the replay.
at popcultureminefield.com.
We miss you.
You can always find Pop Culture Minefield
Oh,
on Twitter,
Canada,
Facebook, Instagram,
please
YouTube,
get
and
your
Twitch.
internet back.
See you, War Monkey.
Who the hell is that guy? I know who that guy is.
Keith, no. Gary, yes.
See you later, Peter Bigman Panther. See you, Pacific 414. Bye, Anna Pizza, Bill Barkley. Sky King Turtle. Bye, Teddy.
I don't know that guy. I don't know any of them.
Y'all come back now. You hear?